Right, hi everyone. Yes, right, we're finally back again, and I do actually think now I know what my problem was. I was on the wrong browser, the wrong search engine rather. I've switched to Chrome. It's because I wasn't on Chrome. I was on Safari, unfortunately, because I've got so used to using Safari. So. Right, yeah, so now I'm actually on Chrome, so this should work this time. Right. So yeah, so just wait to see if the others come back. Oh God, just can't believe we've taken 2 attempts at it.
Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can hear you now, Sam. Hi, Carl.
What about me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I know what the problem was.
What was the problem?
Well,
I was on the wrong. I was on the wrong search engine. I was on Safari. I should use Chrome. I should have used Chrome.
Right. Yeah. That would cause conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's usually a good thing.
Well, at least we know what the problem is now.
Remember,
that's all sorted.
Well, so yeah, night shifts. Yeah, they're all right. Mind you, there's quite a few places now that you know, like normally you'd expect night shift to be paid extra. There's a lot of places now don't pay extra, or they'll say, "Oh, because you're salaried, we don't have to pay you all."
Yeah, we get paid extra. Definitely.
Yeah, I would say when I worked at Holiday Inn, they said there it's like you're on permanent nights, but your wage is 12,000 something a year, and I says, yeah, that's base wage, but you get paid out, you know, because I'm on permanent nights. Says, what's your night premium? Oh, we don't do that because you're salaried. I'm like, okay, and like, is that all right? It's like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I won't be here very long, but you know.
You were talking about night shifts before.
Yeah, I've got some coming up in about a week, mate.
Yeah.
Just a bit of extra money.
Extra cash.
Yeah.
Extra cash and just toss it off.
No idea what I'll actually be doing, because last year when I did night shifts, it was because we were Primark was doing a refit, so we were just basically taking apart all the old displays and basically building the new ones. Yeah. I've no idea what we're doing over the 2 weeks that I'm doing it. The only thing I can think of
is night stock.
Yeah, say that's exactly
or the mind you, what time? Yeah, I'm going to say it's spring, isn't it? So there'll probably be
replenishment, won't it?
Yeah, you'll probably be like clearing out the winter clothes.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
packing them away and bringing some new stuff out.
Yeah, because they've already got the spring stuff in, so it is very likely we'll spend 2 weeks just sorting all the spring stuff out.
Yeah,
which is easy, to be fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that will have been sat in a warehouse since before Christmas, though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. When I worked at Freightliners, what was it, Sports Direct? But we were getting like 2 or 3 trucks an hour through, coming to collect containers with stuff for Sports Direct, and it were all stuff that they were, getting in ready for Christmas. And this is like in like June, so they get stocked up. Yeah.
Well, they do. I know we'll start shipping in the winter gear in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
We will literally have winter gear being shipped in at the end of May, and it'll be sitting there waiting, and we'll pop it out near the end of August.
Yeah. Well, like the thick jackets and everything like that, jumpers.
Yeah, I mean we're selling it all. We're selling off effectively last year's winter stock now at like discount prices because obviously we need to get rid of it all. So we're shipping the spring summer stuff. But yeah.
Austin.
So, Carl, have you heard anything from that person that claims to know everything about Vic Mignogna but won't say anything and basically wants to keep it secret?
He's decided that I'm a non-person now. He's unpersoned me, which it's like, all right. So you believe so deeply in the evidence that you've got that when somebody says, well, what is it exactly that you've got, you decide to spit your dummy out and go running off. It's like, that kind of leads me to believe that, I mean, for what he said there, he said he'd done some research, and I think it was the sort of research where you just sort of like went on Twitter and looked at what people were saying.
Yeah, probably.
And just went, oh well, if that many people saying it, it must be true,
Well, that's the thing. The amount of people on Twitter when it was sort of started kicking off in like a few weeks ago, everybody was basically saying what that guy was saying. Oh well, I do have proof. What's your proof? Oh well, I can't really tell you. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't tell you. Yeah. Can't tell you. And it's like, oh, so what did police say when you handed it over to them then?
Oh well, I haven't done that yet. It's not the right time to show the evidence.
To be honest, the allegations that he's making, if he doesn't hand that over to the police, if he's got actual proof, or even circumstantial proof for him to take a look into it, because if he doesn't do that, then basically he's committing a crime in himself.
Yeah, he's withholding evidence, effectively.
Yeah, well, he's not withholding evidence. It's, obviously with matters such as what he was discussing, obviously the police need to know about it. But no evidence given, no evidence given, nothing handed over to the police, and now he ran away with his tail between his legs. Well, good luck, mate. Good luck. It'd be a bit funny if I contacted certain people, because there's certain people I can contact and say, are you aware that this person is spreading the rumor that such and such has done such and such, and he claims to have evidence of it as well. It could very well be very potentially damaging for his career that he's trying to bash out. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not a cunt. I'm not going to do that because I'm not a cunt. And to be absolutely honest, it's not going to take much longer before I don't think it's going to take much longer before the various court actions and stuff like that Vic's initiated come to fruition.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like they say there, it's Kami Harkon has now
unbanned him.
Unbanned him, because, well, quite frankly, they don't really have much of a choice because he's in quite high demand as a guest, and thus far, all the allegations that have been made against him have been proven to be false.
Yeah.
Either just gossip or people photoshopping pictures.
Oh yeah,
or
some of the photoshops were ridiculous.
Even where people have grabbed pictures of other people from Google image search, and then put them on and gone, look, he's doing this to this girl, and the actual person whose picture it is has come and said, yeah, that's me in the picture with him, and no, he's not doing anything to me at all. He's hugging me. Now, last I checked, it's not illegal for you to hug somebody. And, I mean, it is illegal to, while you're hugging them, to, like stick your finger up the cunt or whatever, but there's yet to be any evidence of that happening.
Yeah.
Like while you're hugging them, or like while you're hugging them, sort of like, I don't know. But then there's the other things as well where they're like saying, oh, he grabbed hold of what-they-caller by the hair and then sort of like whispered something in her ear, in front of people. And it's like, what he was doing was something that they did at every convention they appeared together, because they were just basically reenacting a scene from fucking Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
It was part of their, I played this character, he played this character, and in the anime, he did that. He grabbed hold of the back of her head and pulled back, and then like went, I'm going to kill you or whatever.
Yeah.
So that can be discounted, because if at any point she didn't want to do that, she could have said stop, but she didn't. She never asked him to stop. She was always quite happy to do that in front of the fans because of the reaction that they got. And, the fans loved it. If it was, hurting her in any way, shape or form, she could have said, that hurts, can we stop doing it, or can you not pull as hard, or something like that. So that's that. But the other stuff, the other allegations, I mean, there's Monica Rial or has he tried to fuck her or something? I don't know.
I don't know. From what I've gathered, there's going to be a hell of a lot of ass sued, basically. Yeah,
I'm going to say I'm going to say I've heard various stories about what Monica Rial's Monica Rial's story's been. I mean, I've heard one that says that it's basically a bit of a, like a in-group sort of thing, where, with like Monica Rial and Chris Sabat and that. And I don't really, I mean, apparently they're objecting, because they're all sort of like California liberal, and they don't really like people who are, like Christian or, kind of religious kind of people. I don't see that as being completely true. It could be. It's not outside the realms of possibility, but it's like Chris Sabat and Sean Schemmel and all stuff like that from Funimation. That the voices of Goku and Vegeta have appeared together at various conventions over the years, and they've appeared with other people who are, religious, and it's never seemed to bother them that much. They've also worked with a lot of people who are religious, and it's never seemed to bother them that much. I mean, Vic, I can never say his last name, so fuck it. I mean, yeah. But Vic has worked for Funimation, or had worked for Funimation for a long time, and it's only just recently that it's started to bother him. So I'm not really thinking. I think I don't believe that. The other story I heard was that apparently it's because Vic and his wife played the ship's counselor in Star Trek Continues. I can't remember her name at all. It's Michelle something. She's got long red hair, quite attractive. But apparently one night, they tried to set up a fucking threesome or something. It's like, that's one of the stories I've heard. Apparently, they took her up to their bedroom and tried to have a threesome or something, and she ran out. It's like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that in the slightest. And it's like I say, I know somebody who is actually, quite good friends with Vic. In fact, I know a couple of people that speak to him quite regularly, and they said there, something like that, and the other things have been said about him. They're like, no way. It's like some people you can tell, like Bill Cosby, a bit of an arse, and it's like you could tell there was something up with him, and like Jimmy Savile, but it's like like with Vic, it's like, yeah, he's a bit of an arsehole, but it's not illegal to be an arsehole. I mean, fucking hell, if he's if him being an arsehole it means he can't work in the voice acting industry again, then fucking Eric Stewart, the guy who does the voice of Kyber, he's a bit of an arsehole as well. But does that mean he's not allowed to work? Stuff like that. It's like I say, he's an arsehole, but he's one of them arseholes that you can get along with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole kick of victory is practically started collapsing anyway. It's just a case now of what will be in the legal side.
Yeah, it's one of them things where it's like I'm not taking a massive interest in it. I'm waiting to see what happens, with regards to the various court cases and inquiries that's going off. And I think it's going to sort of go the same way as, the inquiry into Donald Trump being a Russian spy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be frank, I'm not a real fan of Trump, but I never actually believed the Russian thing. I always believed it was a load of bollocks.
Ever since he got elected, they've tried. I mean, first off, there was the fucking, what was it, BuzzFeed exclusive that wasn't really a BuzzFeed exclusive because this thing had been passed around all the news agencies for ages, and every single one of them had said, it's a lot of bollocks. That where he was supposed to have gone to Russia and had a Russian...
the Russian P-tape, as it's been said.
Yeah, Russian prostitute piss on him while he was sleeping in the same bed that Barack Obama had slept in or something. That were a load of bollocks. Then they've brought up other things that they've tried to get him with, and it just turns out, every single time it's all bollocks. So when it was funny when you watch the footage of what they call Rachel Maddow when she's talking about it, and she's actually crying, and she's going on, like, oh, President Trump has been found, not to have colluded with the Russians in any way, and she's literally got tears streaming down her eyes.
Why? He was investigated and found that it was basically not true. That's the whole point of an investigation.
Because she spent the past 2 years on her show. I think she's on, I don't know whether she's on Fox or MSNBC, but she spent the past 2 years on her show. She's got her own show on one of these news channels. And it's literally every episode she's mentioned something about Donald Trump being a Russian spy or something like that. And endless mentions, he's a Russian spy. We've got evidence. It's only a matter of time now before he gets, impeached and all stuff like that. And then it's one of the things where it's like because what happened was when the report's finished, the report's presented to the House, like the Senate and the Congress.
Yeah.
And a summary is given to the public, and it's up to Congress whether they want to release the full document or not. But usually the summary basically sums up the pertinent stuff, the actual full documents are like the size of a fucking phone book or something. Yeah. Well, not a phone book these days, but an old phone book that's like about that fucking thick. Yeah. And so it's pretty dry reading, but it's up to them whether they release it. And they were all going like, well, that's answered some questions. I mean, was it Don Lemon? It's like, oh, it's answered some questions, but it's now caused us to ask more questions, And he started reeling off this list of things. It's like, well, all the answers are contained in the summary you've given, and looking through the full document, you're not going to find any different answers than the ones you've already been given.
The ironic thing is they spend all this time investigating all this stuff and trying to convince themselves that, we'll get him on something, we can impeach him. I mean, they're less than 18 months away from the next bloody election. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Why don't they just focus on the next person who's going to be running against him, help them if they want,
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said there, it's taken 2 years, and I can't remember how much money they've spent on it, something stupid like 20 million on the investigation, just to find out what everybody knew when it started.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, it's like I said, now they're trying to go. The guy who has done the investigation, they now want him to appear before a Congress committee to answer questions about what exactly it is that he's done in this investigation. It's
yeah,
like,
but surely all that's in the
they're just not gonna let it lie.
No.
And it just
he's
proves
done it.
how,
There's the paperwork. That's the fruit of the investigation.
Yeah, it just proves just how stupid and obsessed they are, and they can't admit that they're wrong. It's like I say, it's it's all right to admit that you're wrong. When you don't lose face over it. It's like, all right, okay, I admit. All right, fuck me. Alex Jones has admitted that he's been wrong on quite a few occasions.
Yeah. Although he, if I remember correctly, when he started getting sued by the Sandy Hook parents, he denied ever saying that it was fake, and yet the videos are still there on YouTube of him saying.
Oh yeah, he said it's fake. Yeah, he definitely said that he was convinced that it was fake. But what he's said since is that one, you have to remember that when he does InfoWars,
it's all an act.
He's playing a character.
InfoWars, I've heard of it.
When he's on InfoWars, he's playing a character. It's that's Alex Jones the brand, not Alex Jones the man.
Yeah.
That's one of the things you have to remember. And second, it's like I said, like he said there, he says, well, what information I was given, that's how I've interpreted it, and I've interpreted it wrong, sort of thing. Which is fair enough. I mean, I can't understand how I can understand them suing because like he said these things about him, and it's not very nice.
No.
But I can't understand how they expect to receive money for that, because they haven't been financially disadvantaged in any way. But then again, this is America that we're talking about. You fucking stub your toe on, like you stub your toe on a vacuum cleaner, and there's people who sue the fucking vacuum manufacturer and win, and get compensation for things,
I heard about some guy in America a few years ago who stubbed his toe on the roadside and broke his big toe, and he sued the local, whoever you sue, and he got a couple of million out of it for a broken toe. Yeah.
Well, that's it. It's one of the things. I can remember my mate had an accident, and he put, a no-win, no-fee claim in. I says, what are you claiming for? Oh, it got one of them, don't know whether they still do them, but you used to be able to like rent like a scooter. When you needed some transport to get to work or something, so you used to be able to like rent a scooter. And he rented a scooter, and apparently they'd said, it's all been checked over by a mechanic and everything, and certified as safe to ride before we send it out. And he rode it off, and then when he was on his way to work, the throttle stuck open when he was trying to turn a corner, and he ended up having an accident. He broke his wrist. And that's what his claim was for. And I says to him, I says, well, try and embellish it a bit. And he was like, what? I says, well, in America, it's quite popular to stick other things on. I says, apparently you get like extra money for saying that because you've had an accident, you've got like, sexual dysfunction and stuff like that. And it's like, he says that, no, they'll not believe that. It's like, well, you never know, you might be able to try. Because I've had this accident, I can't actually travel on a road in a motor vehicle again, so I'm going to need like lost earnings for the next, however many years till I'm 65, and because of the trauma of the accident, it led to me being unable to get an erection. So, I'm suffering from severe sexual dysfunction, and stuff like that. In some American court cases where people sue it, they'll actually tack on shit like that.
Surprised nobody's ever said, due to my accident, I'm now feeling that I'm turning into a communist.
Yeah. No, sir, that's just brain damage, and you were born with it. But yeah, what do we have? So what have we had this week? We've had Donald Trump isn't a Russian spy. We've had I'm going to say we started the week off quite funny with fucking Zelda going, please vote my deal through, and if you do, I'll resign. Don't vote it through, I won't resign. And it's like, so basically you're asking us to vote for that crappy deal that you've got so that you'll fuck the country over, basically by delivering a non-Brexit Brexit. Or if we don't vote it through, you'll continue on as Prime Minister and continue fucking the country up just as much as you would have if we'd signed up for that deal. Oddly enough, MPs voted. All of them said, nah, you're all right, love. They're fucking Corbyn. I've seen Corbyn giving a speech in Parliament where he's there. And he's basically saying, like, nobody wants your deal. Nobody will ever want your deal. Technically, he shouldn't have been allowed to try and vote for it a third time because, as far as I'm aware, parliamentary law forbids something coming up more than twice in the same parliamentary session.
Apparently, what's decided tomorrow should decide whether or not we get the no-deal Brexit, which probably will happen.
Well, this is the thing. The end date is 12th of April now, and we have to pay €1 million to the EU for every month that we want to extend the date by.
Yeah.
So it's like the thing.
I mean, they might.
Yeah, they're not going to have another referendum because we don't need one. There were fuckers there saying about, let's have another referendum. It's like, well, what's going to go on the ballot paper? And some guy said it should either be vote for Theresa May's deal or remain. And it's like, well, no, because yeah, exactly. It's like, well, we already voted leave or remain, and we voted leave. So the subject of remain shouldn't ever be put on a ballot paper again, because it's already been decided whether they like it or not. So if we do have another referendum, it should be no deal or one of the various deals that have been put forward. Only two of which would actually be any good. And even then, they needed a lot of fucking stuff working out in them. And one of them was just, a straight no deal thing, which is fine. It's not the best idea, but, it's the best one we've got at the minute. The other one was to ask for a deal the same as what Norway has. But the main problem there with asking for a deal the same as what Norway has relies on the EU negotiators agreeing to it. It's all well and good having a referendum to say, let's ask for a deal like what Norway has, and then we go, right, okay, so people have voted and they say they want a deal like what Norway has, and then the EU bloke, or is it Donald Tusk or whatever he's called, goes, no, we're not letting you have that. So it's just we've just had a referendum for nothing, basically. This is what I'm saying. When people keep going on about we want another referendum, it's like, well, what exactly are you wanting to vote for? Well, I know what it is they're wanting to vote for. They're basically wanting to run another campaign so that they could try and swing it as a remain, but it's not happening.
The problem is the way it's all going. We could be stuck in this like limbo for the next year or two if they don't sort themselves out.
Well, I was looking at the thing the other day, and it's the earliest I think that they can have another general election is next June or July, I think it is. So it's basically, if it's not been sorted out by next June or July, as well as costing this country a shitload of money, well, it cost them at least 12 million euros, plus a couple more for, was it April, May, June, yeah, so it'll cost 50 million euros. As well as doing that, we'll have a general election. The Conservatives aren't getting in unless Theresa May steps down and somebody who's a little bit more competent replaces her. I mean, I said they can do worse than have fucking Boris Johnson become Prime Minister.
God, I wouldn't want him as Prime Minister. Bloody hell.
Well, this is the thing. It's they had up a list of people on, I think it was BBC website, and they said if they had if Theresa May resigns, these are the top 12 picks. And I've not heard of most of them. I had heard of, there was Boris Johnson on there. I can't remember who the other one was. And then the rest of them were just mostly like sort of also rans, but a lot of them were Remainers.
Mm.
You know, and it's like I said, we don't want another Remainer prime minister. We need somebody who's a Brexit, who's in favour of Brexit and is going to deliver Brexit. Unlike Theresa May, who was a Remainer and quite clearly from the beginning had no intention of sorting it out. I think she was hoping that at some point, you know, at some point people would just stop and say, "Oh, let's just stay," you know, and it's not happened. Yeah, it's we could do worse than Boris Johnson. I mean, at least Boris Johnson is, you know, he'd sort out Brexit pretty quick. I mean, something said about Jacob Rees-Mogg. No, he occasionally has some good ideas, but we really don't want him. He's proper fucking old-fashioned. You know, I'm better than you. You know,
Never heard of him.
you've never heard of Jacob Rees-Mogg?
No.
Okay, yeah, but we don't want Jacob Rees-Mogg. But yeah, I reckon next time round, next general election we have, Conservatives will be going. It'll probably be Labour that gets in, and I really don't want to think about what will happen if Labour gets in, because well, unless they get rid of some shit out at party, but fucking Diane Abbott. What's the other bloke? David Lammy, get rid of him. I'm going to say he's not particularly endeared himself to everybody with what he said about fucking comic relief.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh, comic relief, it's just, was it white people being racist by sending money to people in Africa? All right, so you don't need any money offers anymore then, fine, that's okay. I mean, what's pissed me off this week is the Indian space program, which what was it? Apparently, India's already on their way to sending a probe to the moon, which is going to cost the equivalent of £98 million. Funnily enough, last year the British government was forced to pledge roughly £98 million over the next 2 years to the Indian government. You know, in foreign aid. It's
so
like
we're paying for their space program.
Pretty much, yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I mean, I got into an argument with somebody on YouTube about it, and they were like, "Yeah, but that money." Oh, he goes. So you're wanting people not to be able to aspire to be doctors and scientists? It's like, no, that's not what I said. I said, why is Britain, who is another country that's got poverty, you know, we've got plenty of people homeless and, you know, people who are starving, you know, even people who are working full-time jobs that can't afford to, you know, not earn enough to live on. And we're giving, you know, the Indian government £98 million, you know, between 2018 and, well, it's 2018 to 2020. We're giving them £98 million, while they've still got an extensive nuclear weapons program and a space program. It's like, so obviously India's got a few quid flying about if the government can afford to pay for that. So if they've got enough money to pay for that, why can't they afford to pay for, I don't know, food and better...
They're a very rich country, is India.
Well, I mean, the studies are there. It's like, yeah, but, you know, it's up to us to encourage development and growth in other countries. It's like, oh yeah, I'm really sure that the fucking, you know, the fucking government in Britain, don't matter whether it's fucking Labour or Conservative or what, they really spend a lot of time sitting around going, fucking hell, we've got to make sure that India's got more jobs. You know, I'm sure the Chinese and the Russians sit around going, fucking hell, we really need to get Spain. You know, we really need to lower the unemployment in Spain. Yeah,
well,
of course they fucking do.
The problem is, as a lot of people have said, the UK government, we have more money in our foreign aid budget than we have in our budget for like helping the homeless.
Yeah.
We actually send more money abroad to help people than we do money at home.
They said there, why is it? Yeah, I mean, the focus on there is, I says, well, the payment is going from the British government to the Indian government. They're like, yeah. And I go, so if the Indian government doesn't want this payment, well, they've already had one payment out of us. You know, we'll be paying the rest next year. And you know, it's like I said, if they don't want the money, then when the first payment was given to them, why did they not like go? You know, like because it, you know, it'll be in some form, like a fucking check or something like that. I don't know. Or a bank transfer. They could have refused the bank transfer. They could have sent the check back or whatever. You know, and said, we don't want any more money. Please stop giving it to us. You know, they can refuse this money at any time. And these fuckers like, oh, so they've got to like send a letter to thing. It's like, yeah. You know, that's how it's done. You know what? It's sort of like the Indian fucking Prime Minister, like, you know, sends a text like, hey, Teresa, baby, I don't want any more munnins off you, like, in it, mate. You know, that's exactly how they're, and it's and you know, it's like through the United Nations as well. You know, member states of the United Nations, if they require foreign aid for something, they have to put a request in writing. You know, and if they ever want to stop that aid, all they've got to do is put a request in writing. You know, we don't want any more. And they've yet to do that. So India as a state is still taking money from people. And so anyway, one of them went, yeah, but India also pays out money in foreign aid. It's like, well, if they can afford to pay, you know, for the things I mentioned, you know, the nuclear weapons and the space rockets, yeah, and they can afford to give money away in foreign aid, no, and obviously they don't need it. Obviously, they don't need anything coming in aid. Why do we? You know, it's like, all right. So foreign investment in business, yeah, because that's different. Yeah. But foreign aid as in money to pay for food and for building, you know, building houses and, you know, infrastructure and stuff like that. Yeah, they don't need it, obviously. And then so he went like, oh, yeah, but they do give away money. And I said, just how much is it they've given away? I said, specifically, I said, how much money has the Indian government given to the British government, you know, for aid? I said, because obviously, if your criteria is a country has to have poverty, therefore they're entitled to foreign aid. We have poverty here. So how much have they given us? This fucker went like, they've given us 918 million so far. And it's like, bollocks. I actually looked it up. Their contribution has been £1.2 billion. However, our contribution to them over the past 5 years has been £18.5 billion. That's £18.5 billion we've given them over the last 5 years, and they've given £1.5 billion back, but not to us. That's gone to the oh God, what's it called? I don't know whether it's gone to the UN or something like that, but it's not come directly to us. Whereas we've given, you know, a fair bit to them. You know, it's like I say, it's not particularly fair, and you know, I don't see. I really don't see why we should be giving India. I don't see why anybody should be giving India any money. To be fair, I mean, it's like I said, they keep building. Yeah, I mean, they keep building nuclear weapons because they keep fucking aggroing at Pakistan and to a lesser extent Bangladesh as well. They've got a fucking, you know, they're wanting to send fucking rockets to the moon. You know, you know, I mean, all right, India's a bit of a shithole. I mean, everybody I know that's ever been there says it literally stinks of shit.
Yeah.
But then again, so do a lot of places in the Middle East.
Around amongst people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so do a lot of places in that part of the world. I mean, a friend of mine went to Egypt. He says, as soon as you step off the plane, first thing that hits you is the smell of shit. So I don't know, but, you know, it just beguiles me that way. It's like, you know, we've got all this shit going off in this country, and, you know, it's like then we're going to give fucking 98 million quid to fucking India for some reason. Basically to pay for their space program. A lot of bollocks. Yeah. Oh, the other one I read that was quite amusing was, you know, there's been that cyclone or something in, I think, some part of Africa.
Oh, yeah.
Is it like Cyclone Idra or something like that? And I read a blurb, and it was by some guy, you know, who's from that country. He's some sort of journalist or something from that country. They basically said, and his words were something along the lines of that cyclones don't have names. The only reason why white people name them is because the cyclones belong to them, because white people make the cyclones to put down black people.
What?
Yeah, and
they're a weather phenomenon. They're a natural occurring thing.
Yeah, and I just said to, you know, like that. It's like, hang on a minute, did he just basically say that the only reason why his country is getting cyclones is because of white man's magic? Because that's what it sounds like. You know, oh, what's happening here? Oh, there's a tornado or whatever coming, and oh, white man's magic. Well, it's like, oh, fucking hell. And this is somebody who's supposed to be a fucking journalist, apparently. I don't know. I wish I could find the link again, because it's one of the things where it's like, this has got to be this has got to be like a fucking piss take. And no, not a piss take.
Yeah, some weird people in the world.
Yeah.
What have you been up to lately then, Carl?
Nothing at all. Not a damn thing. I've done some more cars this week, but that's about it, because I've had fuck all else to do.
Still doing any retro gaming?
No, I haven't felt like doing much by way of gaming this week. I've just been doing my dailies on Forza and playing through the Hitman, trying to get all the challenges and stuff like that. But I haven't done any game other sort of gaming really. I have to be in the right frame of mind for it. I must say though, that video you pulled with the Pac-Man thing, it was weird, because it's like I said, it's considering it's an official Namco product, and you know they got the Pac-Man music right, you know the and they got the ghost sound right, you know the siren, and then the noise when they turn into noise when they all go blue and you can eat them. But the only thing they didn't get right was when Pac-Man's going around the maze, it should go waka 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 waka. And it didn't. On your thing, it was just going like beep, 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 beep. It's like, what the fuck? That does Namco not own the copyright to Waka 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 anymore or something? I mean, fucking hell, I've got a game on my phone that's Pac-Man, and it's not even an official Namco game. It's a knockoff, and the actual game's called Waka Waka. And when Pac-Man goes around the maze, it goes Waka 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 Waka. What the fuck? That's like playing, like fucking, getting one of those like, Sega 500 games in one consoles, plug it in, put in Sonic the Hedgehog on, and instead of it playing the Sonic theme tune, it plays like theme tune to fucking Mega Man or something.
Mm. Yeah. So I've also got a classic mini NES, and that has the Nintendo version of Pac-Man on it. But,
yeah.
No, the device I've got, the Namco controller, has got the 5 games on it.
Yeah. What is it? Is it like shaped like a controller, or is it? Oh.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I know what it is now. Yeah.
One of those little things.
Seen that before. Yeah, I've got to say I've seen that before. That's quite an old version.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly, they brought out a version that was just Pac-Man games on one console, and it was shaped like Pac-Man, and it looked like the most the most uncomfortable controller ever. Well, apart from the Terminator and the Alien controllers that you could get for the NES back in the day.
Yeah, I really want to get one of these retro freak consoles that that supports 12 different retro platforms.
Oh, like that one I said that.
Yeah. I've looked
yeah,
at
you can just get cartridges and plug them in, and then you just switch between systems.
Yeah, they're 139 quid on
Amazon. Yeah, they're all right. Them if you've got the cartridges. Because, like I say, I was thinking about buying one back when, back before the whole kind of retro gaming thing took off, and all of a sudden, like Mega Drive and NES and whatever games suddenly became really expensive. Because I thought, I'll get one, and then, I can just buy boxes full of old games, Yeah. But it's a bit cost prohibitive now, unless you drop on a good deal on a box of games or something.
You wouldn't get one now, Carl?
No, I'd I mean, it's like I say, I wouldn't mind one of them C64 minis, but they're a bit expensive for what they are, and it's like I say, you can get emulators online that do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not strictly supposed to play emulators unless you've actually got a copy of the game, but it's considering those games have been out of print and that for years now. I'm going to say copyrights on a lot of them are fucking expired.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole retro game thing, it's becoming, it's kind of weird really, because it's obviously becoming pretty popular, but I mean a lot of the games that you see now, I think, I was playing them when I was a kid, and they were like the latest thing. They were like the thing to play, and now it's just sort of more of a, I don't know, like a trend, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a trend, and I think it's starting to die out because I mean, I remember when the whole retro gaming thing started getting popular, and you had what they call angry video game nerds.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden you had like a billion other channels pop up that were, doing the same thing, but just slightly different, copying off him. And that's gone. That's basically gone. There's not many people do that now. There's still people that do like retro game reviews, but they don't do it like he used to, like where he's like, oh, fucking, and then doing all silly shit.
Yeah.
And it's like I say, I mean, I've been into Smith's a couple of times, and they're retro consoles. They've got like a section with retro gaming stuff on it. Nobody seems to be buying the retro console. I mean, the ones I've got in at the minute, they've got the handheld Atari thing. I mean, I called in, I think it was last week or week before, to have a look. The handheld Atari things have gone, which I thought about buying, but then I thought, well, no, because there's only like, maybe 3 games on the game list that I've ever heard of, sort of thing. So I didn't see point in getting that. There's about 3 or 4 C64 minis left that are too expensive. They've got a couple of NES, NES minis.
Yeah.
And a couple of PlayStation minis, and they don't seem to be shifting.
Oh no, well no, the PlayStation Classic, that hasn't. I don't think that's gone down very well at all.
Well, no, because all the games on it are fucking shit.
Yeah.
There's some PlayStation, there's some PlayStation Essentials that should have been on it, and they weren't on it. So, I mean, I've even been into like CEX and stuff like that, and there's already, like, the mini Super Nintendo and stuff like that there, second hand.
Yeah.
It's not one of them things. It's people bought them, people spunked off over them, bought them, and then novelty's worn off. So, novelty's worn off. So they're like, I'll take it to CEX, and it's like I paid, like 150 quid for it, and CEX will give me like 20 quid, and then put it up for sale at 80 quid.
Well, it's like anything, it's just a trend that goes away pretty quickly after so many weeks or months, and then people.
Well, I went talking to a mate this afternoon about the whole superhero films things. I mean, he says he's been seeing Captain Marvel, and he says it's not a bad film. It's not a great one either. He says he says the next Avengers film will probably be the final one for a lot of them that's in the current cast. which I know some of them have already said it's going to be their last film.
Yeah.
You know, there might be cameos provided the characters don't get killed off, but for some of them, it's going to be their final films. And it's without such. I mean, think about it. We've got, you know, we've had the Marvel Cinematic Universe that's been going on for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
You know, and then when they've stepped up the thing and having like 3 or 4 Marvel films coming out a year, it's people are getting burnout. You know, and then you've got the Marvel TV series, or you know, which of them I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done the best, but the others have you know, been fair to middling and then died off. You know, the DC series are starting to wind down. I mean, it's like I said there, it's Arrow. They're going to do end of this series, and then there's going to be a mini series next year to finish the storyline off of whatever it is that they get going, and that's it. There's not going to be no more Arrow after that. I think they're winding down Legends of Tomorrow as well, because that's not fared very well. I don't know about Black Lightning, because I gave up on watching though. Supergirl, I think they're keeping Supergirl going. Not entirely sure about Flash, but like Arrow, I think Flash needs to end because they're running out of stuff to do. What they call it, Doom Patrol's just started, which Doom Patrol's all right, but you know, they can't have that as a flagship series. You know, that Titans or whatever started, and you know, that's not been particularly popular. I don't know about Gotham because I've never watched it. But then, they said Batwoman was getting her own spin-off series, which I just don't see the point of, because she's not a terribly popular character.
No.
Yeah, she's not a terribly popular character, and you just know it's going to be another Supergirl-esque, you know, having fucking, you know, political messages rammed down your throat every 2 minutes.
Problem is, after the thing is with Disney is basically after the Marvel thing's done, they haven't got anything fresh.
Yeah, they've got nothing. Yeah, they've got nothing to go to.
Apart from the whole live action remake thing they're gonna do for like
which thus far I know their live action remakes of films haven't been that popular.
No. Yeah,
I mean,
Aladdin does look great. I love The Lion King, so I want to see The Lion King.
Yeah.
And Aladdin does look like it's going to be quite good.
I think I'm going to say, when I've seen the trailer for Aladdin, and it's like, if they were doing a live action remake of the original Aladdin film, but from what I gather, they've changed a lot of they've made it more like the Aladdin pantomime, I think.
Yeah.
Or they've been a bit more faithful to the story as it appeared in, the 1001 Arabian Nights book.
Yeah.
Which I'm not entirely sure whether that'll work or not. I don't think Will Smith is a good choice for the genie. I really don't.
Yeah, well.
Well, wait and see what happens, because it's like I say. I mean, Aladdin's one of the very few Disney films I actually like. So I mean, it's like no interest in seeing the Beauty and the Beast one. Absolutely no interest in the new Mary Poppins film. I'm not really bothered about Lion King. You know, so it's a bugger. I mean, Disney's already fucked up Star Wars. So they're not going to be much by Star Wars.
I have to be honest, I don't get why there's so much hate for The Last Jedi. I personally don't find it a bad film. I don't get the hate. Why people hate it.
No,
because it was a ridiculously simplistic story that was full of.
It was. I don't think it's a bad film. I still think it's a relatively good film. But it definitely didn't live up to Episode 7. Because Episode 7, I actually could say, was a good film.
Well, I'd agree on that. Yeah, it didn't live up to Episode 7. I would agree on that completely, Lawrence. It's just I just don't get all the hate. You know, there's been so much hate about it. It's like, get over it. It's just a film at the end of the day.
Well, it's just a film, but the thing is, it's like I say, it's you're seeing this thing that a lot of people have grown up with, basically being shit on.
Yeah.
Basically being shit on by Disney because they're not bothered about the carrying on the thingy, you know, the epic storyline or whatever. I mean, it's my problems with it's like I said, my problems with The Last Jedi was the completely unnecessary side story with Finn and whatever going to the casino planet for no apparent reason and setting the slaves free for some reason that had no relevance to the plot whatsoever.
No, I can understand that. I mean, I think the only reason.
No, then there was the you know, Admiral Gender Studies was a completely pointless character. I can understand why they stuck her in because of Carrie Fisher dying.
Yeah,
you know, I do realise that, you know, she sort of died while they were still filming it, so they had to somehow try and finish the story off without her doing a lot of scenes that they wanted her in. I know that they replaced the suicide scene. Was originally supposed to be Admiral Akbar, but they took him out and replaced him with Admiral Gender Studies because they didn't want people memeing it as, you know, like fucking Allah Akbar sort of thing. Yeah. And that is the genuine reason why they did that.
Akbar did die actually as well. Then he died when
Yeah, but he was supposed to die, you know, like sacrificing himself by destroying the big ship.
Yeah.
But they gave that to Admiral Gender Studies instead. But yeah, it's I didn't enjoy it all. I think the whole thing what they did with Luke Skywalker was just right. How can we get rid of him? It just seemed like that. How can we get rid of him? You know, we need to now cut all ties with the original films, and he's the last one left basically. So we need to get rid of him in some fashion. And the way that they did it was retarded.
They did have him project like a hologram version of himself.
Yeah, basically a projector. Yeah, basically he used all of his remaining life energy to project a Force ghost, and just to distract the you know, Kylo and his gang of arseholes long enough to you know, for everybody to get away safely. Although I must admit the bit where it's like literally the fucking shooting at him with everything they've got, and then when they stop and the smoke clears, he just sort of steps out and dusts himself off. Yeah, that was epic. That was fucking ace. Yeah, but everything else was shit. But yeah, so I'm just wondering how it's going to turn out, because I know how I'd like the next film to turn out. I'd like the next film to turn out with Rey being the bad guy, because, you know, she's gone down the you know, it's Kylo Ren's gone on the hero's journey, basically what they call the hero's journey, whereas Rey's gone down the other way, and you know, she's terribly entitled, and you know, everything's been given to her and all stuff like that. But somehow I don't think that'll happen.
Probably not, no, because
it's a female character, and you're not allowed to have bad things happen to female characters. I mean, look at the fucking shit that they got from Game of Thrones, where they killed off some of the female characters that died in the book, so they had to die in the TV series as well, and fucking went apeshit because female characters were getting killed. And it's like, well, that's what happened in the book, and being as that, you know, the Game of Thrones universe isn't a very nice place, it's everybody can die at some point. You know, that's one of the whole points of the Game of Thrones universe, is that they said right from the beginning, everybody can die at some point. You know, it's not like it's not like Conan, where it's like, you know damn well that Conan's never going to get killed, you know. It's yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's like saying a lot of people just aren't bothered about the superhero films and stuff anymore, because it's been done to death.
Yeah, a lot of it is just for merchandising, really, isn't it, nowadays?
Yeah. I mean, it's also there. It's like Doom Patrol. It's interesting in a way that, you know, for like a superhero team, they're not very super.
No.
You know, and it's like, you know, obviously they've got powers, but it's like the only person who really knows what he's doing is Cyborg, and he's like, you know, it's like the what they call it, Robot Man. You know, all right, so he's a robot and he's like dead strong and whatnot, but he's not really useful for anything. you know. And then you've got Elastigirl, who can't control herself, and the Negative Man, who he can't really control his powers either. And what's the other one? Crazy Jane, who I've not got any idea what niche she fills. I mean, she's got, was it 64 different personalities with 64 different powers?
Yeah.
But she doesn't really know how to use them properly, apart from the was it Hammerhead personality coming out a lot and just starting fights and being rude to people for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it has been quite a good series. I mean, I do like the sort of irreverent stuff they've done, like the cockroach that's like, you know, you know, like a doomsayer, you know, like, oh, it's the end of the world and everything like that. I can't remember. The cockroach is voiced by what they call him, that was Snot in the that's Snot in Family Guy. No, not Family Guy. American Dad, and was Booger in Revenge of the Nerds. Voiced by him. You know, it's quite, that's a good thing that's in it. And Mr. Nobody by you know, like Alan Tudyk. It's just like, what the fuck? It's like he can do, you know, it's like, how the hell they're going to defeat him? He's like literally omnipotent and can bend reality to his will.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. You know. But yeah, it's like I said, Doom Patrol, something that it has the potential to be really good, but it also has the potential to be really, really bad. If they don't, you know, if they're not careful of what they do with the storyline. I mean, to be honest, I'd never heard of Doom Patrol before the series started. It's only because it started, and I'm like, what's this then? You know, and I look back, and it's a comic that originally started in the 60s, and then it kind of went for about 10 years, then it went away, and then it came back again in the mid 90s. You know, with a lot darker storylines because it was written by Grant Morrison or something like that. So it's I don't know. We'll have to see how it pans out. I mean, I've got to say, I had Umbrella Academy recommended to me. I don't even know what that is.
It's a Netflix thing. I've not watched it, but from what I understand, it's sort of like superheroes with abilities, sort of kind of meant to be coming out of hiding or retirement because the apocalypse is happening, something like that.
Right. I want to say Umbrella Academy means it's set in a school, I would have thought. So it sounds a bit teen drama-ish to me. And I really don't.
I can't comment. I've not watched it.
Yeah.
I've heard about it.
I might have a look at it, see what it's like, see if it's, you know.
I mean, I have been on the kind of thinking I want to watch that Netflix's Madeleine McCann documentary, but from what I've heard about it, most of the info in it is already public knowledge and has been for years. That's got it that's new.
Well, this is the thing. It's at this point with you know, regards to Madeleine McCann stuff. There's no new. There's nothing new, and I don't think anything new will come out at all.
No, because we know, all of us really know what happened.
Yeah, it's you know, events have been described and poured over time and time again, and you know, there's quite a fair few possibilities about what's happened. You know, what actually happened, but you know, plausible possibilities as well. The problem is especially with regards to pursuing the McCanns themselves, you know, to exonerate them, you know, because of all the accusations made against them, to finally exonerate them once and for all. It's too late to do that, really.
Yeah.
And it's like saying they're very litigious. It's you know, anybody that's ever said anything bad about them's had a thing saying, you know, like, sue you. Yeah, they'll sue anybody that says anything bad about them. So I don't know. There's stuff gone off that that have probably not been told. You know,
Well,
the police found out
Piers,
not
in the last week or so, you can imagine there's been various talk about the documentary, and there's been stuff. Some of the stuff that I've read about certain stuff that's mentioned in the documentary. It's not new. It's stuff that was talked about like 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's not bringing anything new to the table, and a lot of people that are talking about it are acting like, oh, this is brand new information. No, it's not. It was talked about several years ago. It's nothing new.
Yeah,
and we already know this.
I mean, the investigation into it is still ongoing. You know,
it's been ongoing for nearly a decade.
Yeah, it's, you know, police are still asking for money. You know, a budget to continue the investigation. I think it should stop.
Well, here's the thing.
It's been a decade. I mean, to be honest, she's been gone for 10, nearly 10 or over 10 years or whatever now. You've only got to be missing for 7 years for someone to be able to declare you legally dead.
Well, here's the thing. The way I look at it, I'm with you on that, Carl. I agree that it should end it because, firstly, 12 million quid so far spent on one missing person over the course of a decade.
Missing children.
Yeah, there are other missing people in the UK who literally barely got 6 weeks of attention, and then that's it. Yeah.
Well, that's it. There were that girl from York that disappeared. You know, well, not a child, but you know, she was an adult. I think it was Rachel Nickel or something like that. I think she was called, and she disappeared from there. And you know, the case on her case is still open, but I've not heard anything about it for a while.
I know that a case can on an unsolved murder or disappearance can't actually be closed.
It's like what they do. It just goes on to stack, and if anything interesting comes up, they'll have a look at it, or maybe, you know, while reviewing old still open stuff, they'll have a look at it again to see if they've got any more information. But it's like I said, there's a lot of things that 12 million could have been spent on.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like I said there. I mean, I remember last time round when it was coming up for, you know, I'm asking for more money for budget, and they got awarded like $500,000 or something. And you know, I said there, why are they giving them another $500,000? It's, you know, the case is not solved, and it's been far too long now. So, you know, it's time to let it end. I think it's like, you know, unfortunately, yes, your child has gone missing.
One case where there was this girl who I think originally went. The real case was actually a European case. It was, what was her name? Natasha Kambush. She was kidnapped by that bloke, and he kept her like in his cellar for years. And eventually, I think she just got back to her parents. But there's this Netflix drama, a docudrama where it takes place in Britain.
Yeah. I know which one. Yeah, I know which one you're on about. Yeah, because they had a similar one in America where 2 girls got kidnapped within weeks of each other. They just got snatched off of the street when they were sort of like in the mid to late teens, and nobody saw eye nor hair of them for about 10 years. And then all of a sudden, one of them walked into a police station with 2 kids.
Yeah,
and said, you know, my name's whatever. I've been missing for 10 years. I've been held prisoner, you know, at this address by this man along with this other girl. And that's what I said there. You know, weird how stuff like that happens, but unfortunately it does. Like I was saying, well, it's not a very nice world. You know, bad things happen.
I mean, I was like, back in 2002, you know, well, we know obviously what happened to them. It's found out darn quickly.
Yeah.
Holly and Jessica Chapman. It turns out, there was their school caretaker.
Yeah. I got into an argument with somebody about that because there was his girlfriend as well, him that killed him, his girlfriend, I call her Maxine Carr.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and they said about, you know, somebody were on about it, and they said there, it's, you know, obviously she's been in prison and she's been released and whatnot, and they said there, you know, oh, she only got like, you know, 3 years for murder or something like that. And I just said there, I says, why did she murder? And he went, oh, that Ollie and Jessica. Or whatever it was.
No, she didn't murder him.
I said, no, I said, no. I said she didn't murder him. I said it were a boyfriend that murdered him.
She got locked up for
she got locked up because he came and said, if anybody asks about like where I were, tell them this or whatever it were. Tell them that.
She'd still have been an accessory.
Yeah, and that's what she got locked up for, because, you know, when police were investigating it and they turned him up as a, you know, as like the main suspect, and when they asked her, you know, where was he on this date at this time, and she said like, oh well, he was with me, you know, and then that kind of threw investigation off, and then they finally got her to admit that, well, he'd asked me to say that he was with me, but he wasn't.
Well, in a documentary I saw about it, that Ian Huntley was actually quite violent with his girlfriend.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was a twat.
He must have threatened her to.
I mean, I was on fucking calendar news. They had a guy on, and it said.
I'm just going to nip down for a smoke, guys. Keep talking to yourselves for a minute.
Yeah, there was a guy on, and he was called Ian Huntley, and he'd be getting like, you know, like nasty phone calls from people and stuff like that. You know, it was nothing to do with any of that, but people would just look at phone book and see Ian Huntley, and then they were ringing up and going, "You fucking murderer! You better look out what you're doing, because, you know, like, I'm going to come and kill you and stuff." And it's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, speaking of something, Carl, just in here, basically there are it's basically stating that it's quite possible that the Operation Grange is obviously the disappearance of Alan McCann. Basically, they may not get any more funding. It's basically stating, obviously, they're asking for more funding to keep it running until March of next year. But currently, it's up in the air as to whether or not they will get that funding. The only other thing that kind of gets me about this article is every time, I'm just saying it like I read it, but every time there's something in the papers or in the news about Madeline McCann, and specifically the parents, it's always like another year without Madeline, another Mother's Day without Madeline. What about the other two kids? They've got two other bloody kids, and it's like they never get mentioned. It's like those kids don't exist.
Yeah.
You know, we're struggling, you know, it's like without Madeline, it's a struggle. You've got two of the bloody kids. Why do you ever talk about them? You know?
Yeah.
You seem to be fat. You seem to be
Madeline.
Come on, these two of the kids, I mean, this may sound like a cruel thing to say, but those two kids should be your life right now.
Yeah.
They should be what you should be focusing on. Leave the rest to the police.
I mean, it's like that. There was that lad, we call him Ben Needham, that went missing in Greece.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one they've never found him. I mean, I don't think they have anyway.
No, they did do a couple about 3 years ago. They did they basically reopened it, and if I remember correctly,
there were a big thing about the got, you know, like, I think they were digging all ground up around where, you know, he went missing, because they were saying there, you know, well, at the time he went missing, there were like some roadworks or something, and they're saying there they think that you know, his body might be, you know, in a pit or something somewhere, and they dug it all up and they didn't find a body. I think they did find like a toy that was his or something, or that resembled something that he got on him at the time. But they've not found a body or anything like that. And this was the thing there. I can remember for years there they were going on about, you know, every so often it would pop up and be like, Ben Needham this. You know, he went missing in the early 90s.
Yeah, nice.
And it was the same sort of thing as with Madeline McCann. You know, every so often his mum would appear on telly and be like, Ben Needham this, Ben Needham that, Ben Needham this, Ben Needham that. And, you know, when it got to the point where, you know, they were saying, oh, and this is what Ben might look like today. You know, it's like now, if he was still alive, it'd be in his like mid to late 30s. You know, and it's like, well, you know, if he's still alive, then it's like I said though, you know, it's when somebody's been missing for 7 years, you can have them declared legally dead. You know, and it's like, so there were, and for ages that kept coming up, and you know, it's like he's not coming back. You're not going to find him. You know, it's like it'd be nice if you could, but because they had like quite a few false alarms. I remember they had a special, you know, like special documentary program on about it where they'd had a lead and said that there was a gypsy bloke that was living in the same area as where this Ben had gone missing, and he looked about the right age, and you know, and everything like that. So they went out to Greece to find this bloke, and when they found him, it didn't look anything like him. You know, it was like I say, you know, this Ben, he got like blonde hair and blue eyes, and this guy that went, he got black hair and brown eyes. You know, so. But it's stuff like that that annoys me. There, it's after a while you just have to let things go. You know, I mean, it's you just have to let things go because
yeah, you do. I mean, I can understand.
It's not very nice. But, yeah.
I can understand. You know, somebody goes missing in the family. You know, a son, daughter. You know, you're going to want to find them. That's completely understandable. But when it's, you know, a decade later and there's just been nothing after a prolonged investigation, I think you had to get to a point where you've got to accept you're never going to find them.
Yeah. It's like, you know, the police have done everything they can, and there's nothing else to do. You know, there's nothing else they can do, really.
The problem with the McCanns is, the way I see it, is let's, you know, if they don't get funding, this in the police investigation, which is looking like they won't get refunding for, as they wanted more, but it's looking heavily like they won't. What will happen is they'll do their bit. They'll say, you know, we thank the police for, you know, all this help and support. They'll probably use the money they've got from the Help Find Our Daughter fund to fund a private detective for the next few years. After that runs out, they'll go back to the papers and be like, "Oh, we want the police to reopen the investigation."
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah,
you know, it's like, well, you know, we did that. It cost us 12 million. We did it for almost a decade. Nothing came of it. You know, how could us reopening it, you know, 5 years later going to really accomplish anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've re-interviewed people. They've got another witness statements. They've done every conceivable thing that can be done, and there's just been no progress made. They're no closer than they were 5 years ago than they are today.
Yeah, well, they're no closer. They're no closer now than what they were the day after she went missing.
No, they're not.
They've got no suspects. They've got no clear idea of what happened. You know, it's like they say. I mean, the McCanns themselves have changed the statements about what happened, you know, a couple of times. So that's
I still go on the grounds that when obviously they were obviously brought in to be questioned about the events to try and build up an idea of what happened, and it's still. I still think it's an odd scenario when you're asked, when you went into the apartment you were staying in, what did you see? Was there anything strange? So on and so forth. They refuse to answer questions like that. Why? That's a valid question to ask.
Yeah. And there was the other thing as well, where the police told them not to circulate any pictures of her. And they said, don't put any pictures of her out there. You know, we'll release a picture once, you know, the investigation's got going. So they went, all right. And then next day, the famous picture of her with, you know, the where she's got that deformity in her.
Yeah.
The next day that turned up on front page of just about every newspaper in Britain. Yeah, and there's something. Well, it just seems weird how they're supposed to be a grieving family, but yet they've managed to write books and you know, TV appearances all the time.
Yeah, I could also mention that they're using a chunk of the Help Find Our Daughter fund. They paid off their mortgage. Yeah,
there was that as well. There's some weird stuff like, what was it? Is it apparently a mum said something about, you know, like when they were talking about her, and so she said like, oh, she was a beautiful little girl. She was going to grow into, you know, but she was a attractive and everything. And then she says something like, "Oh, and she had really perfect little genitals," or something.
Yeah,
It's like, fuck.
Yeah, that caused a hell of a lot of, as you say, what the fuck, because there has been some weird stuff that they've said.
Yeah.
Also, on the grounds of that, there was it's actually in the book. I've got a copy of the book, and it's mentioned that what you just said. It's mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
And there's also something else where Kate McCann's saying, about dreams she had where her perfect body and her perfect this was like ravaged by rapists. And it's like the way you describe her is creepy.
Yeah.
You're describing your daughter in a really weird way.
Yeah.
Some people would hint at you are possibly abusing your daughter.
Yeah. Or, I mean, there was after that, I mean, they started looking into, oh God, what was it? Was it Clement Freud, I think he was called, who was an MP in this country who just happened at the same time as they were staying in Portugal. He was in a villa or a house or something a bit further down the road, and they'd said there that maybe it was a case of that she'd been taken to his house for because he was a paedophile or something like that.
Yeah, but despite the fact there was absolutely no witnesses to anything like that.
Yeah, that's one of the theories that they came out with. I mean, it's just weird that they said there they found a blood in both in the room and in the car that they had.
That was that. There was like a really, really weird theory that I came across a while ago that in a lot of ways just doesn't make any sense. Basically, there was this, because basically about roughly a week after she went missing, there was a funeral at the local church in the area they were staying in. Yeah. And there's this weird, bizarre theory that just makes zero sense, that basically where people are saying that the parents hid a body for a week, somehow smuggled it into this coffin where it had been cremated. That just doesn't make any sense. That's not a viable theory, No,
but then again, they are quite well off. So, in theory, they could have paid somebody to hide the body in mortuary for him.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, as I said, I still maintain to this day, 10 years later, that they are in some way responsible. Not just on the grounds because they left them alone, but in general, they have something to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cadaver dog over for it to have a sniff around its room and stuff like that, and this dog only goes off whenever it
it had like 100%.
It's like like where their body's being or something. Yeah, and they said there where it only goes off on one when it finds where the body's been or something like that, and it said there that they found about 2 or 3 locations in the house where the dog had a strong reaction, like behind it.
One was in Madeline's bedroom.
Yeah.
Then they found another in basically the wardrobe or something in the parents' bedroom, and then they found another in the rent-a-car. They found at least 3.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's one of them things. I bet you we'll never know what's happened.
No, it'll remain unsolved. We'll never solve it.
Yeah, it's one of them things that in 20 years or so there'll be like an unsolved mysteries documentary, and that'll be in it. I mean, every so often we still get documentaries about Lord Lucan and stuff like that. And is Hitler still alive?
No. He's definitely dead.
In South America. No, he's definitely dead because he'd be about 140 by now. So, it's like, I know that, the Nazis had Nazi super science, but it weren't that fucking good.
Yeah, they definitely don't have anything. I mean, because the thing is with the whole Hitler thing is you can guarantee, as you say, you can guarantee 50 years from now there'll be people saying he's still alive. Well, no, because that will make him over 200 years old.
Yeah, well, that's what they keep saying about Lord Lucan. Is he still alive? And it's like, well, probably not, because he'd be over 100 now. I mean, I can't remember whether they ever actually found him or not. I know they had like a load of people living in sort of like South America and things, and Australia and that kind of looked like him and everything. But I don't know what there is there. It's I can't remember, there's been quite a few there, you know, people that's gone missing and then they've gone like, you know, like, I mean, remember the guy that supposedly died in a canoeing accident, and, you know, then then he turned up living in his house in a secret room, because it was all like a thingy to collect on insurance.
Oh, yeah, I remember, yeah.
Yeah, remember that, yeah. And the only reason they got caught was because somebody had gone out to somewhere in South America because they were looking at buying a house there or something, and this website had taken a photo of people that were going to be like investing in housing in this area, and the bloke who was supposed to be dead that was supposed to have been dead for 18 months was stood there with his missus.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
You hear about stuff like that now and then. Like, I think there was something similar to that kind of scenario, but like you say, it turned out the said person was alive and well, because after a couple of months, he started putting up pictures of himself on Facebook. And he was like supposedly dead or something, and it turned out, wait a minute, he's obviously alive. You know, it's just stuff like that happens now and then. Yeah.
People there, it's like, oh, he's dead. It's like, no, I can assure you I'm not dead. See, that's the thing, though. It's like I said, people, you know, that rely, because people don't talk to each other anymore, and, you know, like go and be social and stuff like they used to. It's, you know, your social interaction comes from things like fucking Facebook and that. And, you know, it's somebody don't post out on Facebook for a couple of weeks, you know, and that rumours start, you know, like, oh, I think he's died or something, and, you know, and then it's like, you know, just because I post on Facebook for a couple of weeks don't mean I'm dead. You know, I mean, it's like the other way. It works the other way around as well. You know, like somebody like, I mean, it's like I say. I mean, I don't get out much. I don't see people that much anymore. And it's like I say, you know, if I suddenly died and disappeared, it's pretty much nobody would know about it. You know, it's because it's like, you know, the only things I really do is like Facebook, and it's like, you know, I can stop posting on Facebook because I've died, and then, you know, people might think like, oh well, he just might have stopped posting on Facebook, you know, might have packed in with Facebook. I mean, I've got a mate of mine, he's closed down his Facebook account because he's not happy with, you know, all the where they've been using your personal information and stuff like that.
Yeah, following it on and things like that, yeah.
He's not happy with that, and he's not happy with the, you know, like if he's talking to somebody on Messenger and it's like it's reading your messages and stuff. You know, he's not happy with that, so he's closed down his Facebook, and he's on another website, but for some reason, I can't get onto the fucking website, so I can't really talk to him anymore. You know, and...
Personally, I'm starting to prefer Instagram to Facebook.
I prefer Twitter personally.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I had an account on Gab, but I hardly ever used it because the only problem with Gab is it's a lot easier to use than Facebook, because it's basically it's the same thing except it's a lot more simplified. And, you know, they've got guarantees in place that, you know, they're not going to use any of your personal information for anything. But the only problem with Gab was it was full mostly of, like, fucking, you know, like conspiracy theorists and, you know, like fucking neo-Nazis and shit like that. And I tried to download, because they brought out that thing, that dissenter, you know, that allows you to comment on things even when they've turned comments and stuff off. And I downloaded that plugin for Firefox, and I just couldn't get it to work, so I uninstalled it. And then when I went to check on Gab, it goes, you know, you reset your password, and I'm like, okay. And then when I asked it to send me a thing to reset a password, it said, oh, this isn't a valid email address. So it's like, well, that means my account's gone then. You know, so I don't know what happened there, but it's not like I used it or anything that much, but You know, but that's the you know that's the thing though. It's like I say, if you know if somebody died and you know who'd know whether they were actually dead or not. You know, like I said, just because you don't post on Facebook anymore, don't mean you're dead. But,
I've often thought, you know, if the way things are in this day and age, I don't know if you know someone got arrested, and I can almost imagine the absolute panic there'd be if it was a case of this person is not on Facebook, Twitter, or any form of social media. It'd be like, oh shit, how are we going to find out who he is?
Yeah, yeah. That's it. I mean, you can guarantee these days, whenever somebody gets arrested for something, you know, you'll get all your tabloid papers, you know, going through the Twitter and the Facebook and their Instagram.
Yeah, well, on a situation like that, there was this chap that everyone knew in town. He was very popular years ago.
Yeah.
And because he used to be in all the local youth theatres and stuff, and he was a very friendly guy. He worked in Woolworths. You know, he became a professional entertainer. Everyone knew who he was. I was friends with him on Facebook because we knew each other and wished me happy birthday every year and everything like that. Then he'd say hi to me when he saw me. But suddenly, at one point, all his social media seemed to be closed down.
Yeah.
And no one was quite sure what happened, but then it was unfortunate when we opened up the local paper in the next couple of days when it revealed why this had actually happened.
Yeah.
It turns out, yes, he was convicted for. He was a convicted bloody kid. He'd been proven to be a
paedophile.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, well, it happens. It's you know, it's like I mean they say like about paedophiles and stuff. You know, like how come there's more paedophiles now than there ever has been? You know, it's like no, there's not. There's always been paedophiles. It's just that because we've got you know your social media things, you get to know about it. It's like you know why would I know about you know if a paedophile had been arrested in London? You know, I wouldn't, you know, go back 20 years, I wouldn't have known about that. But, you know, now you get, you know, paedophile arrested in London. His story don't make the tabloids, but, you know, it'll be on Facebook or somewhere. Oh, no, that's it. It's like, you know, I wouldn't have known about that 20 years ago because Facebook and that didn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, ironically speaking of that particular subject, back when I was at college, after I left school, I was at a college called Prospect Training for a while. And one of the tutors, I completely forget his name, but one day this tutor was gone, wasn't there anymore. When you know, obviously people like you know, why is he not here anymore? You know, and the other tutor was just like, oh, he left. He just kind of like resigned. So what do you mean he resigned? And he said, well, you know, he just decided to leave, and we didn't think anything of it. About 2 or 3 weeks later, a group of us just ran into him in town, and you know, we just chatted for a bit and. You know, that was it. A week later, just got the newspaper and I'm staring at the guy's face, front page. He's only basically been arrested for having relations with underage kids. I was like, what the hell? This guy was teaching us. What the hell?
Yeah. Mucky teachers.
Like, no wonder he wasn't there anymore. They probably kicked him out when it turned out he was basically messing with underage kids. Yeah.
Well, I say, I mean, they try and blame it, you know, like say it's about, oh, you know, people have got access to porn and stuff like that, and it's no more different than what it used to be. You know, it's like I say, you know, people's always, you know, you could always get, you know, if you wanted some porn, it didn't matter what flavour. You know, what it was you were after, you could get it. You know, even if, you know, there's always been porn magazines and videos and stuff. And, you know, the illegal stuff you could usually get hold of if you knew to ask, you know, sort of thing. So it's not to do with porn, really, you know. I mean, there were things about, they'd done a survey of, you know, like sort of Americans under the age of 25. And they said that, both male and female Americans on the age are now having a lot less sex than what they had 10 years ago. You know, so you know, on average, you know, and it's like a lot of them were saying, you know, like you know, people in the 20s, you know, like when you'd expect you to be fucking shagging away and everything like that. You're like, you know, the same, like, you know, people, I haven't had sex for over a year or something like that, you know. And they were trying to figure out what it was, and they said it's a combination of I can't remember. They said about old people as well, you know, like the survey kind of, well, its survey kind of encompassed everybody, you know. They were trying to work out, you know, how much sex people were having on average, and you know, people sort of over 50 were, you know, still at it 10 years ago, but now they've kind of got a bit older, and old people generally don't do it as much, you know. But then they were saying that the most surprising stuff was the, you know, the people under 25, and they're saying it's, you know, it's the most liberal. We're now living in the most liberal time it's ever been. You know, there's not really that much stigma attached to, you know, attached to, you know, sex anymore. You know, the contraception is available. You know, there's various different forms of effective contraception available. There's, you know, if you're not interested in a relationship, you know, you can dating websites, things like Tinder and stuff like that. You know, if you're just looking for a, you know, get your end away quickly and stuff. And the same, but even with all that, you know, youngs are still doing it. And they said it's a lot of it comes down to it's like they say, you know, people being brought up, you know, sheltered.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've got all this stuff where it's like, you know, you've got men are afraid to talk to women because, you know, if you even if you just say hello, you can get accused of something. You know, or if you know, if there's somebody that you genuinely do like and you go to ask them out or anything, you get accused of something. You know, woe betide you if you ask a work colleague out. You know, if you go and say, oh, do you fancy getting a drink after work tonight? You know, you can be accused of sexual harassment at work, so that's your job gone. Yeah, so they're like about women as well. You know, women have been told, you know, like, oh, you know, men are all, you know, they're all one, you know, like they can't control their urges and keep away from men and things like that. You know, and especially amongst, it's like they say, it's amongst in America at least, amongst, you know, like college age. Sort of thing, you know. And they're also getting those that are having sex tend to have a lot of, you know, like you know, diseases, you know, your clap and warts and chlamydia and all things like that, because although they are having sex, they're not doing it responsibly.
Yeah, no one's using protection.
It's like they said, the kind of sliver of the pie of, you know, young people under 25 that are having, you know, responsible sex, whether it be with a long-term partner or just, you know, like hookups and things like that, is actually quite slim.
Yeah,
and it's kind of dangerously slim, you know, sort of thing. And it's just weird. It's just weird that, I mean, it's like, you know, it's like, so because people don't talk anymore, and then you've got all this crap that's come about in the past few years of, you know, everything's sexual harassment, everything's rape, and, you know, and all stuff like that. And you know, it's like I say, I can understand why people are turning, you know, like wanting to look at porn more and stuff like that, you know, because it's, you know, it's frustrating, you know what I mean? You know, it's like people, you know, they might want to be in relationships and stuff like that. And they might have, you know, they'll have people who they are actively interested in, but they don't do anything.
No, there's this YouTuber I've seen, I've mentioned her before. She was saying it could actually be acceptable for porn to be how young people get their sex education.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, no, I mean, it's sex education in schools. They didn't show us actual physical porn.
Yeah.
No, sex ed in school
they never showed us porn. All we got for sex education at school was we got a worksheet, and we went into the classroom, and every table had this worksheet face down on it. And then teacher just said, right, you know, turn it over and start reading it. And it's like, turn it over and we start reading it. And it was one of the most dry and clinical explanations of how to, you know, how to perform sex act or how sex happens that you've ever read. It was that dry and clinical to the point at which it was actually funny.
Yeah.
You know,
one of the the very first sex ed class at school, like the first official one where you had to take the note home for your parents to sign to consent that, you know, we're all right with our kid learning and stuff. The thing, I remember it so well because it was quite boring. As basically, so we're all sat there, sex ed class, and you're kind of at that point where you kind of have a vague idea of what sex is because, you know, you're like 13 and you have like
you're like 13. You've already watched porn at some point.
Yeah,
you know,
pretty much. Yeah,
you'll have started playing with yourself at some point because everybody does.
So, you know, we're all sat there, and you know, so basically, lesson begins, and all that happens. Teacher shoves a video into a video player, switches on the telly, and what followed was about a 20-minute documentary that was very boring, didn't really tell you anything, and all it really was like two teenagers, obviously a guy and a lass, probably about 17, 18, and they were basically sat in like a park having a very low-key conversation about sex.
Yeah.
That was it. And like the highlight of this documentary was a picture or a roughly drawn picture of two people having sex. That was how it all ended. It didn't really tell you anything. That was it.
Yeah. It's it's like I said, by the time they get round to fucking doing sex education at school these days, it's, you know, you already know roughly what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, if these days half the kids will be up to date on Game of Thrones, so they'll definitely know.
Yeah, I mean, they've said there, you know, like it's like watching porn isn't really a substitute for proper sex education because obviously, you know, pornography is fake. You know, it's a lot of the stuff that you see in pornography, you know, doesn't happen in real life, or if it does, it's very niche. You know, like you see guys with like, you know, fucking 7-foot long cocks, you know, and things like that. But then a lot of the time when you see them, they're actually prosthetics.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's like if you watch things and you know, they've got prosthetics, like you can actually see their real flaccid members, you know, sort of like hanging out underneath or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's stuff like that, you know, and then you get the, I know, you know, like it's amazingly easy for people to, you know, like get their end away in films, you know, like, oh, I'm just delivering a pizza, you know, and getting me dick sucked, you know, so little Jimmy gets a job at his local pizza parlor as a delivery guy, and, you know, first time he goes to an house and there's one there, he's like, hey, I'm here to deliver your pizza. And then he's a bit like, oh, how come she hasn't sucked my cock? You know, it's stuff like that, you know, it does place ridiculous expectations on.
Well, yeah, but it's the thing, like you say, a lot, in reality, the porn industry is largely all about money. And
the whole point of pornography is fantasy. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, like 90% of it is pure fantasy.
You know? Yeah.
And like, you know, let's be honest, like real, genuine homemade stuff is usually badly done. Because it's usually some camera stashed in a corner of the room and you can barely see what's going on. That's the normal, real stuff.
Out of focus camera with, you know, it's like for lighting, you've got maybe a fucking big light and then bedside table that makes everything glare.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, somebody taking it on the phone and it's like, it's all dark or whatever, and you can just sort of like see, you know, it's like, oh, I can sort of like see his cock and then I can see somebody sucking it, you know. You know, yeah, it's the homemade stuff is thinking, oh, you get the people that do the homemade stuff, but they've got like all the professional setup for it and everything. No, which at that point, that's when it becomes fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's one. I mean, there was a what they call it in the same video I was watching that was talking about this survey, and they said there, you know, there's plenty of women that, I mean, she said there, I used to work with this woman, and one of the guys went up to one of the women in the office and asked her out for like to go for a drink or something? And she said, yeah. And, they eventually ended up in a relationship. And then she says, this other woman that she was working with, she says, God, she says, I wish a man would do that to me. And she's like, what do you mean? She goes, well, just like walk up and ask you out, And she says, oh, well, maybe it's because men don't feel like they're allowed to ask women out anymore in the workplace. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's because they're all like cowards or whatever. It's like, no, it's because they don't want to end up in fucking prison.
Yeah.
And so there, you get a lot of women that's like, you see them on Facebook all the time, when like, oh, why am I single? Why am I single? And then it's like, well, do you want to go out for a drink sometime? Oh, no, get away, you creep. It's like, fair enough. I love that where they go, oh, yeah, well, oh, you're only asking me out because you want to have sex. And it's like, well, that's kind of one of the important things about being in an adult relationship. It's if you have a proper relationship, you are going to end up having, intercourse at some point. And if you want to have children, if you both want to have children, then at some point you will need to, have sex in order to produce children.
Yeah. Or they could literally get like a test tube baby, and it might not be like genetically related to it. But
yeah, well, there's been a thing in I don't know if it's in Australia or America. Was it people that were married? This man and woman were married, and then the woman got cancer, and they said basically the treatment will more or less destroy your ability to have children. So they decided to have some embryos frozen. And in the meantime, basically this couple fell out and they got divorced and everything. She's remarried, he's remarried, and then several years down the line, she decided she wanted to have a baby, but she wanted to use the embryos that they'd had frozen before. And the husband, her ex-husband said, "No, I'm not. No, you're not using my." So because they needed, consent from both parties. So she's took him to court, and the court has basically turned around and said she can impregnate herself with the embryos that you had frozen 10, 20 years ago. And if she carries a child to term and gives birth, you're responsible for paying for it.
What?
This guy who's not been married to her for years, he's remarried and everything. Yeah.
But he wouldn't be the biological father.
No, he would. It's frozen embryo.
Oh, right, sorry, yeah. But
some of her eggs and some of his little swimmers, and then the
yeah. I get you, mate. I get you, but still, that's not a fair thing. I mean,
it's not.
That's not fair at all.
Nope, not at all.
A story like that, they'll do it. The press attention's good publicity.
Well, it's like they say, it's men always get the shitty end of the stick when it comes to stuff like that, and they do. It's really fucking retarded, some of the stuff that it's like men have to put up with. I mean, it's like they said, it's I can't remember how many men they said on average it was something stupid like 200 men commit suicide a week over child related issues. Like that you're not allowed to see the kids anymore, or they've got to hand over money before they can see the kids and stuff like that, or it's like either hand over money or I'm going to tell them that you're a kiddie fiddler and things like that. I mean, I know somebody that's at the minute he's in the middle of a thing with social services because he's got 2 kids with this lass that he fell out with a long time ago, and she's not looking after him. She's spending all the time drinking and, with new boyfriend and stuff like that. And he had kids over the other week, and they said that they didn't want to go back because, they didn't like how Mammy were being with him. And he asked, he went to see her and she was pissed up. So he's now, he's got social services involved because it's like he says there, he says, I want custody of kids. At least I'll look after them, whereas she fucking won't.
Well.
I mean, the thing is, on the other side, I mean, every now and then you get, you hear about stuff where, like, women commit offences against children and they seem to get away with it. Like, for example, a few years ago, there was a case literally in where I live, and a teacher at school, she drugged 2 15-year-old boys and raped them. And she went to court. And long story short, she more or less walked off scot-free.
Yeah,
She got a 12-month suspended sentence, something like less than 2 years on sex offenders, and that was it. And there was uproar about it, just saying, you know, basically she just got away with basically raping these two young lads.
With raping, well, statutory rape on two boys. Yeah, I mean, there's that woman that got caught working in a nursery, taking photos of, you know, like babbies and young kids and stuff, and then selling them to paedophiles.
Yeah.
She got off more or less scot-free. I think it was like, what was it, 4 years suspended sentence and a slap and a fine or something like that. It's like, yeah, she was manufacturing child pornography, so you know that's, as far as I know, that's supposed to be 15 years in prison.
So technically she could just gone and done it all again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really get it, you know, when I read stories like that, you just think, why? I mean, they've done an awful thing, you know. They have abused children. They have put children's lives in danger, and yet somehow that's all right, you know. But it's not. But it's all right because they're a woman. But if it was a man, it definitely isn't all right. And it's how it seems to be how it works.
Yeah. Well, it's like they've said there's still this fucking strange idea that women don't do anything wrong. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, there's a lot of women that'll kill babies. You know, there's women they'll give birth and then, you know, they'll kill babies, and it's like, oh yeah, but she was suffering from postnatal depression. It's like, well, you know, it's unfortunate that she was suffering from postnatal depression, but even then, that's not really an excuse for murdering a baby.
No, it's not.
You know, it's like I say, if you're struggling, then, you know, you can ask for help or whatever. Some of them won't, but it's still no excuse for murdering a fucking baby. I mean, there was a fucking, what they call it, with black woman killed a baby, and can't remember what it was, something to do with, she thought it was possessed by a demon or something.
Yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, thought it was possessed by a demon, so she killed it. You know, I mean, there's quite a lot of it's
possessed by a demon.
Yeah, she thought baby was possessed because
wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a part of Africa, and I can't remember which one it is, which country it is in Africa. But they have this really big thing about children being servants of the devil, and you know, they have like loads and loads of homeless children there. And because, you know, like a kid does something naughty and it gets kicked out the house, you know, oh, you're a servant of Satan. And, you know, then you know, it's like they said there, you're driving down road and there'll be dead bodies down side of the road where people's, you know, like took these kids that are supposedly, you know, like devil worshippers or whatever, and just took them out onto the road and shot them. You know, because obviously they, oh no, you're servants of Satan and things like that. And it's one of those things that sort of come here, you know, because obviously we get people that move from Africa to live here by whatever means, and they bring that with them. You know, I mean, you've got the thing about, was it, you know, the female genital mutilation that's been illegal in this country since the 60s, and it's been going on. You know, it's basically been going on. Police have done nothing to stop it. Yeah, it's only like within the past couple of years that police have actively started pursuing cases against people for it.
Haven't they just literally had the very first UK conviction of somebody doing that? Like the very first time?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, the first conviction, even though, like I say, even though it's been illegal since the 60s.
There was something last year that I heard about where a mother who was basically mentally ill, and even though I think she'd been officially diagnosed with some mental illness and all that, was still allowed to basically keep custody of her children. And one day she decided her daughter was basically the devil or something, so she drowned her daughter in the bath.
Yeah.
then set a body on fire in the garden.
Yep.
And I think it happened last year, and there was sort of like a lot of talk about it, because it was basically saying, you know, she was apparently diagnosed as schizophrenic or something, like
she was
like 6-7 months before, and the father had been fighting for custody, and he'd never got it, and she ended up killing one of the kids.
Yeah. It's that's not uncommon. It's like I said there, you know, it's women. You know, women murder kids, and you know, there's not really that much by way of punishment. They get locked up, but it's like if, you know, a man murders a kid, he might get, you know, 10 years, 10, 15 years for it, maybe life. Woman does it, she might get, you know, maybe 10, 20 years, but she'll be out in, you know, less than that, a lot less than that. Yeah, and it's like I say, it's one of the imbalances. But women tend to murder children a lot more than men do.
Yeah.
You know, and 9 times out of 10, it's when women murder children, they do it in absolute cold blood.
Yeah.
You know, it's not often you get a man murder a child in cold blood. You know, you get men that might kill children by accident, but not so much in cold blood. Whereas most of the time, with women, it's the other way around. It's most of the time, it's killing in cold blood, and, you know, sometimes accidents. You know, but yeah, it's one of the, it's like they said there. It's a 2-tier justice system, because it's all predicated on the, you know, women can't do it. I mean, they keep saying like about, oh, we should abolish women's prisons and things like that. Why? Oh, well, because women, you know, shouldn't be punished the same as men, and they should be rehabilitated in the community. And it's like, well, if you've got somebody that thinks it's all right to fucking drown a kid and then burn the body in the backyard, you know, while the you know, because God's told them to do it, yeah, you're not going to rehabilitate them in the community. They need to be locked up in a fucking nut house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the thing. I mean, last year, at work, I was sat in the break room, and the telly was on, and it was some talk show. I don't know what it was, and there was a group of women on it. And from what I gathered, they seem to be pressing the issue that a woman should not be, basically, a woman should be immune from prosecution unless it's anything but murder. They were basically stating, like, you know, they've got kids to raise and homes to look after, and the only reason a woman should ever go to prison is if she murders somebody. And you're going down the route of, like, you know, if they, like, say this woman, like, I don't know, beat somebody up and stole the wallet, well, you know, just let her off. It was really weird.
Yeah.
It was just like you basically saying that anything other than murder, it's like, yeah, fine, whatever, you can get away with it. So you're saying, if, say, a mother abused her children all the way throughout their childhood under your weird, twisted beliefs, that's okay because it's not murder.
Yeah.
Made no sense. It was so weird.
I remember that debate, because it happened roughly about the same time as that stupid bitch come on and said about you should ask for consent before changing a baby's nappy.
Oh yeah, that was weird. That was weird.
Ask for consent before changing a baby's nappy. What?
That was so weird.
It was like,
what's crazy? And then she was like, "Oh, you all being sexist." She goes, "No, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
you are. That's stupid."
It's like, you know, it's like, you know, well, you should ask, because, well, how does a child know what consent is? Oh, well, because they, like, sort of look at you in a funny way, and it's like, a child doesn't even understand the concept of consent. You know, any child that's still has to have its nappy changed doesn't understand the concept of consent. Never mind have the effective skills to communicate it.
Because somebody did the ultimate piss take to that. They did like a video thing where they had like the 3-month-old son, and they were like, you know, like, you need to tell me it's okay to change a nappy now. Is that all right? Because the baby's just like looking at him. And it's like, if you don't give me permission, I can't change you. He's just like, yeah, of course, you know. But it was just like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
You just imagine that fucking social services coming down, and find a babby that's wearing a you know, covered in shit, and you know, and they're saying like you're supposed to change your babby's nappy. You do know that, you know, keep them clean and stuff like. Oh well, babby didn't give me consent. It's like, well, how long's it been since you like washed it or anything? Oh, 18 months. And you can imagine people that are stupid enough to fucking do that as well.
It was just the most ridiculous thing ever. I'm pretty sure about a month or so after, somebody wrote an article or something trying to defend the concept.
Yeah.
And it just made no sense.
Well, it's like a lot of stuff doesn't make any sense. Now watching some, what is it? There's a channel on YouTube, it's called, was it Wreck Feminist Videos or something like that. And he did a live stream on Saturday night, but I sat and watched it, you know, like most of it today. And it was going, you know, all he'd done basically was just like, you know, sew a load of his old videos together and made it a 2.5-hour live stream sort of thing. And there was a classic one on there when they were talking to people, you know, just after the American election and everything like that. And, you know, they were protesting about, you know, Donald Trump or whatever for whatever reasons. And he goes up and down to this last and says, so you don't like Donald Trump then, no? And he's like, no, I don't. He goes, well, why? He was like, you know, oh, because he's like sexist and homophobic and transphobic and, you know, and all that stuff. And she goes, so what about, you know, so you don't like people because of, you know, their association with, you know, like misogynists or whatever. And she says, no, she goes, so who would you have preferred Hillary to be president? She's like, yay, Hillary, you know, and all stuff like that. And she goes, well, did you know that Hillary accepted a load of money off Saudi Arabia? And she's like, you know, she goes like, what do you mean? She goes, well, Saudi Arabia, that, you know, that country where they have like women stoned to death because they looked at a man that wasn't a husband or something like that, you know. And then, you know, you just see this last there, it's smile drops immediately, and then you sort of like see a brain go into, you know, error 404 mode. Like, don't work.
Yeah, but I've got to throw this out there, you know, in all seriousness.
Donald Trump's racist. They went, oh, Donald Trump's racist. They went, well, what's he said that's racist? They went, well, he said that thing about Mexicans. And he goes, yeah, but Mexicans aren't a race. And this guy goes like, this interview's over. It's like, fail. Love the other thing there where they're like, oh, he's sexist or he's homophobic. It's like, can you name, just say one thing, you know, that is said, you know, to prove that he's homophobic or whatever. And, you know, they're sort of like, you know, you can see gears in their head start cranking round. And it's like, no, you've got nothing, have you?
It's a lot like a couple of months ago, I watched a video where someone was going round I forget what it's called now. Ground Zero, where the Twin Towers were.
Yeah.
And he was basically talking to all the bloody, you know, 9/11 conspiracy theorists, and the amount of times he just destroyed their arguments with simple, proven facts.
Yeah.
And it was so funny to watch because some of them just like, you know, like they just have like a stutter and they'd be like, the thing on the internet, and it's like, yeah, well, that's been disproved. You know, it's like, but you know, the government, this again, that's been disproved. You know, all this stuff is disproved and has been disproved for years. You know.
It's like the dumb when they were saying about like, oh, what was it? Oh, it was one. You know, when they had like one of hurricanes in America, and it was like when Barack Obama was president, and they went like, you know, oh, George Bush didn't give any money to us thing for this hurricane, and then somebody went, yeah, but that hurricane didn't happen when George Bush was president. It happened when Barack Obama was president. And they were like, oh, and, you know, ran off like, ree, sort of thing. Oh, you can't say anything bad about Black Jesus. That's what I said there. They were saying about it. And I said, you know, they went like, oh, Barack Obama done this, that, and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, he did do that. And they went like, you know, the only problem is like not. Oh, they were trying to point out something like about, you know, like helping black people and whatever. And he's like, well, it's funny how, you know, within the first year of Donald Trump taking over as president, you know, he's managed to help a lot of black people. You know, now black unemployment is the lowest it's been since the 70s, sort of thing now under Donald Trump. And said, yeah, but Barack Obama could have done it. And it's like, well, he had 9 years to do it, and he didn't manage it, did he? You know, because we were too busy trying to keep black people, you know, like out of work and dependent on the state and everything. That's why that's why they really don't like it when you get like, you know, like black people that vote, you know, like conservative or Republican in America, as you know, because it's like, well, they're supposed to vote for, you know, for Labour or Democrats, you know, because they're minorities, and if they don't vote for them, then there must be something wrong with them, you know. And it's like, so just because you're black means you've got to do certain things. It's like, isn't that a bit racist? Yeah.
Well, I'd still say I don't like Trump.
No. Oh, shut up! He's fucking awesome.
He's a bloody loudmouth who says stupid shit like, "Oh, Mexico's going to pay for a wall."
Well, they are technically. Trade is what they call it. It's in trade tariffs and getting rid of that. Oh God, what's it called? NAFTA, I think it is. I can't remember whether they've got rid of it or the starting to break it up. It's like a trade agreement called NAFTA, which stuff's made in America, then sold ridiculously cheaply to Mexico, who then sell it back to Americans for 10 times the price, and somehow that's good for the economy. Like, no.
Not if America's paying 10 times the price for their own stuff.
No, not if they're paying 10 times the price for stuff that was made in America. So it's like, well, why can't they just sell it to, you know, stuff that's made in America? Why can't they sell it to Americans for the price that they sell it to Mexicans for? Yeah, it's one of those things where they're doing that. It's, I don't know. I need a piss. I might be a while because it might take me a while to walk to the toilet. Ugh. Oh. Ah, shit.
You're right then, Sam.
Aye. Not bad. Not bad.
Right, well, let's quickly, so you're looking forward to PonyCon?
Very much. Very much. It's going to be an interesting experience. Like I said, first con like it. I mean, tickets, I'll just double check. I'm pretty sure they're on sale a week on Saturday. Let's double check that, actually. I'm sure I worked it out that it was a week on Saturday, which is literally, I get paid a week on Friday. I'm sure it is. Yeah, 13th of April. That's, yeah, week on Saturday. I get paid on the 12th. Yeah. Yeah. That, yeah, as soon as I get that in, I will be getting hold of the tickets. Yeah, British Standard Time, midday, so that'll be 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be sorting them out, you know, week on Saturday, mate, and I'll let you know when I've got them sorted. I love that shelf.
What shelf there?
Behind you.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. It just is awesome. It's just full of awesome stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, all lots of figures here. Even though I did trade in some quite old figures I'd had for about 10 years. I just had in a box gathering dust. I traded in some figures at that market stall today.
I've got 2 shelves full of anime in here and a load of the DVDs and stuff. Got 2 crates in here as well full of DVDs.
Do you still have many of your toys, or have you sold most of them?
I don't know. I've got got a few in here. I've got my Titan's Return Windblade. I've got me Power of the Primes Elite 1. My TF Nation Rune. I've got them in here.
Your rune's still in the box.
Yeah.
No, I opened mine because I'm holding an image in the intro.
Hmm.
I'm going to say there's I got given a leaflet the other day about a convention that's in Doncaster, up at the race course. It's in August, or was it WarpedCon or something? And the guest list looks quite impressive. Got so is it Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred. Can't remember who else. They've got quite a few. It's £17 for a day ticket. Hopefully, I'll be able to save up some and actually manage a day out. But I doubt it might.
Because obviously we've got TF Nation in August, and then in November on Sam and I, Tony gone.
Oh.
Yeah, there's also the Hull Comic Con that's coming July 21st.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue if they've got anybody going. Any kind of
I wouldn't mind having a bob through to the Cleethorpes Unleashed again. Went a couple of years ago. It's quite good, and it's like, well, you know, it could be like a day out in Cleethorpes, and like go thingy, look around, buy some tat, and then go down in Cleethorpes.
Yeah,
nice day out. I can't remember when Cleethorpes one is. So it's like I say, I don't travel very well, so it's like I say, it's I mean, I ain't got any fucking money these days. I seem to be perpetually fucking skint recently, but you know, it'd be nice to have a day out somewhere. It's like I say, I'm getting to the point where it's the only time I tend to leave the frigging house is just to go to the supermarket to buy bloody shopping. Oh, pay fucking bills, go to supermarket. You know, then I might have some money left over for myself, and you know, if I try and buy stuff, it's usually cheap stuff, or I'll put money away and try and save up for things.
You bought anything new recently, Carl? Or you got some new?
Not really. Last time I went to town was not last Thursday. Thursday before, I managed to get a couple of hours in town. Bought some Matchbox cars. I bought some Hot Wheels. I bought another. Working on it here, another Mark 1 tank.
Yeah.
Working on here for the World War I diorama I'm trying to build, and bought myself some socks.
The thing is, back in February last year, I mean, I didn't get the chance to go into Doncaster town before or after Digicon because I arrived very late on the Saturday before the convention.
Yeah.
I was fucking tired when I arrived at the hotel, so I slept for about 3 hours, and then I woke up and just asked these guys. I just asked this group of lads outside when I went for a fag. I says, where can I just go and get something to eat? Because there ain't anything to eat in the bloody hotel. So they said that you can just go into the edge of the town centre. There's a chippy there. So I went to the chippy and I went to the spa shop. That's all I did, other than go.
Yeah, there's not much in Doncaster now. I mean, it's like I say, you walk around town centre and it's mostly like bloody boarded up shops.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's a few places. I mean, there's Panda Models, which is where I bought the Mark 1 tank from, which is a model shop, and they also sell like scale extric things and like model trains and that as well. And then all your paints and everything. There's Games Workshop, There's the Hub, which is a shop. It sells like video games and action figures and anime-related stuff.
Like sort of gaming stuff, or
you what?
Like retro, second-hand sort of gaming stuff, or like.
Oh yeah, they've got stuff in for like 360 and that, but not really anything before that.
No, I mean, they say the store I've been going to is this one of my favourite place, probably in my hometown here of Harborough. It's probably this market store that's open, this real collector's store, because the guy's got great stuff. I just hope he can make enough to keep it going. Is what this.
Well, that's what I say. I mean, that shop was at the Hub. I can remember when it first opened, and it actually started out as a proper video game shop. And it's just over the years, it's kind of the video games aspect of it has gone down, while the other stuff, like the action figures and the like the general anime and geek related stuff, like t-shirts and bags and cosplay props and all stuff like that. That's kind of gone up, if you know what I mean. He seems to be making more of his money from doing that than he is from selling video games, which to be honest, it's not surprising really. I mean, it's most of the video game shops aren't doing a very brisk trade anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I traded in because I have 2 big piles of Xbox 360 games, PS4 games, because I've got both, and a Switch. But I traded in a huge load the other day and got a total of 100 quid to this guy on the market, and because I wanted to get a PS2, a slim PS2 again, because I wanted to do more capture videos of some of the other games, and I got that. Got 2 games, got 50 quid cash. I think I'm getting back into the older stuff again, because it's just simple. You don't have to buy all these add-ons.
Yeah. And what else is there in Doncaster? Oh, there's Vol, which is a comic/gaming shop that also sells like pop figures and stuff like that. Just had a new cafe opened called Bake Battle and Roll, which is it's a cafe, but it's a board game cafe.
Oh yeah, Leicester's got a place like. I mean, when where the what's it called? Like the Gamers Workshop. That's kind of moved to a cafe in Leicester where you can play games, but they also sell all your stuff in there. They sell all the stuff in the shop. Cafe.
Well, I don't know. I've never been to Leicester, but
Yu-Gi-Oh cards and all that. Oh, that's only recently opened because we had. Because our Gamers Workshop closed down. And
yeah, I mean, I did. I'm going to say I did remark it. It's when I went to last time I went to town, and it was sort of like midday, sort of early afternoon where I was there, and the Games Workshop wasn't open. So it's like I wanted to have a wander in, and because I fancied painting, like I was been painting, like a lot of die-cast cars, and it's like every so often you need to do something different.
Yeah.
Otherwise you go mad. And I thought, I might nip into Games Workshop, see if they've got, like just a single sort of like, figure, if anything tickles me fancy. But they were shut. When I went to Vault, they sell Games Workshop stuff, but it's mainly, like things in boxes, not like single blister packs or whatever. And the stuff that's in boxes is expensive. And
I never bought much from a Gamers Workshop, but people used to go in to play their DSs.
Yeah.
To have performance and stuff. And sometimes I go into there to do that. You can go in with your Nintendo Switch or your game, or your handheld stuff, and people will do that. They had a few. They did used to sell Yu-Gi-Oh mangas, so I did buy a couple. I think the only thing I bought was a starter pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, when I went involved, I was talking to it's like I say, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh for fucking ages now. I've not got much real interest in doing it because I can't afford it.
Yeah,
but I did start toying with the idea of getting the Dragon Ball Super card game. I didn't get one because they didn't have any characters that I wanted in the starter decks. But it's like I thought, well, if I can't afford to play Yu-Gi-Oh, then I can't afford to play fucking Dragon Ball Super either, can I?
No. The thing is, though, and also, yeah, it is costly because you have to get, certain cards to make certain decks and things, and that's kind of why I don't do it. But also, when you're playing with a bunch of people, particularly if there's younger people playing, like, it could be teens and stuff, and they and their just eagerness to win it and that ruins it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said to the guy there, I says, it's weird, because I used to go in the vault all the time playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I says, I don't know what it is, I says, but, every time I go in there, like on, on rare occasions I go to town on a Saturday or something, every time I go in there, I feel about as welcome as a wet fart. And I says, I don't know what it is, and I says, I don't know whether it, I says, I don't know, I says, I don't recognise half the people that are here, anymore. I says, but I says, I wonder if it's just because that, it's, because they're younger generation, and younger generation are a bit ignorant anyways.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if it's that, because I kind of pick up on things like that. It's when I start getting paranoid, especially when I'm out and about, because I'm always paranoid as it is whenever I'm out and about. And, it's stuff like that kind of sets me off.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah. No, I suffer from quite bad anxiety. I'm lucky that I don't get generally paranoid, visiting places anymore.
Yeah.
I never really did have that problem. I tend to just get thoughts about things. I tend to start fretting about things really when I'm at home. Is my big problem.
I'm going to say I get it where, and it's really annoying when it happens, because like I'll be walking down. I mean, most of the time if I'm out on my own, I'll have me MP3 player on, like music to drown out the noise of people around me, because that sets me off. But I whenever I ain't got my MP3 player in, or either I forgot to take it with me or I've turned it off, because after a while music starts to annoy me, and I'll hear people shouting me, but then I'll look around and I'm like, was that somebody actually shouting me, or am I just imagining things? And then I'll warn, and then I'll hear somebody shout me, and I'm like, looking, and it's like, I don't know whether that's me being, well, it's me being paranoid. I don't know. That fucking annoys me though.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, when I was younger and I started going, I'd already was going out to pubs when I was 18 for a drink, but I didn't start going. The first time I went properly clubbing was when I was at Butlins. The first time I went into a bloody nightclub by myself. In Minehead at Butlins. That was like really nice. And I started going out at night, sort of Fridays and Saturdays, and just meeting people. The people knew I was a bit odd, obviously, because they didn't know I have autism and that. But there's like, this the guy that's coming in on his own, because I was going in on my own. I would like generally talk to people, because people come up and talk to me. But in my group of close friends I had, they used to talk about so much stuff during conversations when we'd sit around a pub or a club. And often I would get sick and tired of just listening to everything. And I would just put my earphones in. And that really used to mock me. I said, why do you do that? You're being antisocial, being an arsehole. And at some point I said, yes, I know I'm being an arsehole. I do this because, it makes me happy.
Yeah, it's I got like that at one point. When I used to go out, proper nightclubbing, and after so long it'd get like sort of late into night, and I'd sit there and I'd just sort of sit down, and I'd have to cover my ears and my eyes, because I just needed to shut everything out for a while. Yeah. And it's like I really, in nightclub or whatever, and I'm running around people and genuinely having a good time. But it's just that I just needed that 5, 2 minutes of just silence. I didn't want to hear anything.
Yeah, it was like really hard to do. Occasionally, when me and my mates would go out to Leicester, because we would start doing proper crawls, like going to be there for like 8, 9-ish at night, go to a few pubs. Have a few then go to the club, and we'd be coming out the club at 3 in the morning and getting a taxi back home. I'm like, it'd just be so warm.
Yeah.
So I don't really do clubbing much anymore.
No, I don't.
I used to do clubbing up until about, I'll probably say 5 years ago. I stopped doing it. Largely, I think 2 reasons I stopped was, firstly, it's not really cheap. And secondly was, to be frank, there was only so much I could stand in a nightclub, being, in there with loads of people, music blaring out, lights flashing on and off, massive bodies all over the place, and just feeling so constricted. And it just, I got to the point where I hated it.
Yeah, I stopped. I'm going to say I stopped because it's like there used to be a big group of us that all used to go out on a Tuesday night. And we got nightclub on a Tuesday night, and for like fucking metal night, and I used to quite enjoy that. But then I changed jobs, which meant that I couldn't go out every Tuesday like I used to, and so I kind of lost touch with some people. But then when I was available to start going out on Tuesday nights again, a lot of people had stopped going out Tuesday nights. There weren't as many people. So a lot of the time it'd just be I'd just be going out and just going out for a drink on my own sort of thing. And I'd occasionally run into people, and we'd go for a drink together or whatever and stuff like that. But then over time that dwindled away to the point at which I'd just go and just sit in one pub or something and just sit there and drink. And that's what I'm saying. It's at some point I forgot how to enjoy myself, sort of thing. And that's what I say. It's just towards the end. I mean, it's like I said, when I developed a drink problem, and that's all it was. It just got to a point where I was just going pub for the sake of it. I wasn't going pub because I was genuinely wanting to go and meet anybody or that I fancied a drink. It's just I was going to pub for the sake of it, because. I'd go in pub, I'd sit there, pub would be empty most of the time, and I'd just sit there night after night, either after work or whatever. I'd just sit there, I'd down, probably 10 pints, then go and get bus or whatever home, and then wake up early next morning with a hangover and go to work, and then after work I'd go straight back to pub, and just did that night after night. And I don't know why. I don't know whether it was boredom or what, but I just don't know.
We can develop things like that. It just depends.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I sat and thought about it. It's after I stopped drinking. And I sat and thought there. I thought basically what I was doing was I'd be sat bored at home, so I'd get on bus and go into town.
Yeah. And
go pub, and then I'd be sat in the pub bored, but I'd be paying for the privilege of it.
Yeah.
And I think it was because I was sat in the pub on the off chance that somebody would come in that I knew.
Yeah.
And I think it was just I was yeah, I don't know. But it's not. Most of the time I didn't, and even if somebody did come in that I know, we didn't used to do like the old thing where it's like, oh, I hope you're coming down to whatever for a drink down there. Yeah, that not like that. It's like they'd go off to somewhere else for a drink, and I'd just stop there.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird how shit like that happens.
It's too expensive these days to go out sort of regularly. I mean, sometimes if I feel like it, because I live just literally up from, literally just 2 minutes walk away from me. There's a pub, a rather cheap pub. It's not the nicest, cleanest place, and you do get some dodgy people in there, but everyone generally is nice to me. But sometimes if I feel like having a pint or something, I might nip down there. And there'll be people there.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say all the time I spent sat in pubs. I don't know what it was that I was looking for, but I certainly didn't find it.
Yeah. As I say, sometimes in life, I think I've experienced where I might start, when I felt down, I might start enjoying sort of talking or becoming part of a group of people who I know genuinely aren't very good for me.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I'm going to say that's one of the things I'd done as well. When you start talking to people in pub, and a lot of them, you know, you shouldn't really be talking to them. You know, they're not very good people or whatever. You know, a lot of them are assholes, you know, or fucking. You're the sort of people who, when you sat and you're listening to them talk, you can feel yourself getting stupider, sort of thing.
But as I say, you know, I wouldn't do that now. I mean, normally I always do tend to get someone coming up, at least one person coming up and talking to me when I go down the bubble.
Yeah.
And usually, you know, some of the people are all right. I'm not in very many. I've never been in that very many situations like where I've just felt completely uncomfortable.
Yeah. I must admit, sometimes when I've gone to conventions and things, I've felt uncomfortable. It's I don't know what it is. It's like sometimes I'm busy myself for like looking around or whatever, but I don't feel comfortable sometimes, especially when you've got what are basically kids running around, stuff like that. It's I don't feel comfortable with that. It's not me, especially when you get. It's like that one that I went to in fucking Sheffield, and was it having a cosplay competition, and fucking one of them that had entered cosplay competition was fucking practically naked, and it's like you got to be careful that you fucking keep your eyes averted to the floor, because if you just so happen to glance up and I mean it's over the course of the day. I mean she walked past where I was sat about 3 or 4 times, and I saw everything. I saw fucking nips and lips.
Yeah.
And like I say, all it takes is for her to sort of glance in your direction while you're happening to look in her general direction, and then pervert, creep, weirdo. Yeah. So that's what I say. That's one of the things that makes me feel really uncomfortable with that. It's like I won't begrudge people doing, like cosplay and stuff, but
there are times where you feel like, yeah, that's not appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. Mind you, at least I've never been at a convention where there's all like fucking, furries doing that thing. What were all complaining about? It's there where you got, like they went to a convention and there were like about a dozen furries or something, and they were going around just, grabbing people and hugging them and stuff. And it's like, get the fuck off me. Yeah. Especially when you consider how, some of them are right dirty bastards.
What about the furry community?
Yeah, I mean, what was that fucking thing that were about that furry convention out in America when, there were basically, well, there were people who were openly confessing to being paedophiles there, and people, like, and then they were looking around and they were like used nappies, adult nappies that had just been, like pissed and shitting and then on the floor and things like that. It's like, what the fuck?
Okay, you sure that was a convention? That doesn't really sound like a convention. It sounds more like I don't know, the ninth circle of hell.
Yeah. What?
There, Lawrence. Is that behind you? Is that a VR trooper thing? That VR trooper?
It's the Skyborg jet chaser. Yeah, I picked this up at TF Nation. I got it off Nick last year.
Short-lived series, good series, but
yeah, good series. Oh, where's Carl gone?
I think he broke up.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Back in a minute.
Yeah, I picked this up from Nick. I bought some. He had some boxed VR Troopers figures as well. I thought because this was in its box, and it's like you can barely ever get these things now.
There's a short-lived series, and I remember watching it, but sort of the series that I just don't think you see much of these days.
No, well, I mean, only like hardcore Power Ranger fans like that, they would remember it. I think the big Power Morphicon convention in
yeah.
In America. Is it Pasadena? I think they hold it in normally. They had some of the actors from some of the side band series there as well. Like they had the lead guy, was it Brad Hawkins from VR Troopers, who was Ryan Steele? They've had him there. And I think they've had some actors from like Masked Rider and Beetleborgs.
Yeah, it's all those things. I'm just having a quick look here on eBay. There's a bit of VR Trooper stuff. To be frank, it's actually really cheap. I mean, you could buy like all the VR Trooper figures sealed in mint condition for like 25 quid.
Yeah. Well, I think I bought 3. I bought 2 VR Troopers figures on that as well.
Yeah, it was an interesting little series, but it was really like 2 seasons, like.
Yeah, but I don't think any of the 3 side series like Beetleborgs, VR Troopers, Masked Rider, and Beetleborgs, I don't think any of them actually got a proper ending.
Well, no, because they couldn't compete with Power Rangers.
No. And plus, I think the Japanese stock footage they had was also quite limited. Yeah, because I think I saw to the end of VR Troopers Series 2, it got to the point where they were just discovering that the villain Grimlord had a human form in the real world like they did, but I don't think it got to the point where they discovered who it was. It's that Carl Zichter guy who was the head of the Zichter Industries.
So what's this out of interest?
Wouldn't Nick be at TF Nation this year?
Oh yeah, he's there every year, mate. Oh, you could get like the first season for VR Troopers for like literally 2 quid.
On DVD?
Yeah, they're on Amazon.
It's on Netflix, isn't it? They're all on Netflix. Well, no, Masked Rider's not. But yeah, Beetleborgs and VR Troopers are on Netflix, and I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Next Mutation's there. Now Mystic Knights and Masked Rider ain't on it.
Oh, I didn't realise it was on. It was on here on Netflix. Oh, it's the full thing as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I put it on the list. I'll be checking that out. Yeah, but yeah, it looks like you could buy pretty much all of it off Amazon for just a couple of quid.
Okay, Carl says he's going to call it a night. So
no worries. I think I might. No, not yet. I might call it a night in a bit.
Yeah, I think I will as well.
Probably have to start kind of getting used. Probably do a bit of more late nights in a week because I'm going to need to be sort of more accustomed to it.
Yeah. Do you tend to get a good night's sleep most nights, or?
No, I try to. Yeah, I try to. I mean, the trick to night shifts is just to keep pacing yourself, keep going.
Yeah.
I'll have my phone with me when I do my night shifts because I'll be probably using it to listen to some music, keep myself going. I am looking forward to that. Tell you what, I forgot I left this on pause. I was playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! On my DS.
Oh wow, which game is it?
Spirit Caller.
Oh, I had a Yu-Gi-Oh game for the DS, but is that a card game or is that like an actual fighting game?
You probably can't tell because you won't see it on there, but it's basically let's see if you might be able to see it.
Oh yeah.
It's the actual card game. This is the game I've got. It's actually pretty rare. You can't get hold of this particular game for DS anymore.
Is that a Japanese version or a?
No, it's technically the American release. But yeah, it actually takes you through more or less the first 2 seasons of the actual story of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Yeah.
It's pretty challenging later on because you can unlock all the cards and things and build your own decks, but it can be quite challenging. I'm probably going to lose this duel as well because this guy's got a very powerful deck. And
I've been playing back on my DS lately. I picked up this Japanese game. I think it's a bit like Pokemon, but it's a strictly Japanese game from that guy on the market. But luckily because cartridge games don't have regions. So
it's true. It's one of the useful things. It should be... Yeah, that'll be it.
What are you looking for there?
Bit of anime.
Are you ordering something?
Oh, no, not yet. Have a look here. My the American side.
Oh, you're on like that watch cartoons?
No, I'm on Amazon, mate. I was looking for some stuff. Here we are. It's not up till the end of April, this.
When this Digimon film that's meant to round up officially like Adventure is going to be out?
Next year. Yeah, it's the final one. It's basically they got confirmed they're doing a Digimon film that will finish the whole thing. And it's set a couple of years after a Digimon Adventure Try.
Yeah,
and they're all going to be like in the 20s.
Yeah.
Well, TK and Kari will probably be about 18, but it's going to kind of finish the story off. I think it's next year it's out, I think. Yeah, ending the legacy. I love Digimon. I mean, I've got like Original Adventure 1, 2, Tamers, and Frontier, and then I've got the anniversary set, the like 20th anniversary Blu-ray set of Adventure 1, which is the Japanese release, and the anniversary set of all the Digimon films, which is again the Japanese release.
Yeah, I've got seasons 1 to 4 on DVD box set, and I've got the movie, and I've got all the Try films.
I mean, that's the set for the Digimon. That's a Japanese anniversary set.
Does it have British subtitles on it?
That's all in Japanese, though. It's not subtitled or anything. I need to finish that, to be fair. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. That's the Japanese. That's all the films, but that's the Japanese anniversary set of all the Digimon films.
No, I need to get that.
You can only get them from Japan.
You get it off Amazon?
You have to get it straight from Amazon Japan. That's what the box set looks like for the Adventure 1 anniversary set.
Yeah.
Just be aware they are cheap. The the anniversary, the set for the series Adventure 1, that was, if I remember correctly, that was about 300 quid.
Oh, Jesus.
So I say they're not cheap. And the movie set that I've got, I think that was about 200.
Oh, blood. You must have been bloody desperate, man.
I saved up for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say. You could buy yourself, that 500 quid. You could buy yourself like a game console and a nice set of games with that. But if that's what you want, that's what you want. I don't think I'd spend that much on DVDs or Blu-rays, but
I mean, Amazon. Yeah, they haven't got any on Amazon. They'll probably be out of stock on there. I don't know if they've got any left on either.
if I end the broadcast, we can just stay on Google Hangouts for a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, we're going to end this broadcast here. So I'd like to say thank you very much for everyone who's watching. Thanks to my guests, Mr. 000firestorm, Sam, and Godpikachu, Carl. So you're all awesome as usual. Stay awesome. See you next time. Bye-bye.